Yeah, I think so, yeah.
We have to introduce Chaz.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
who did? I mean, who
Not
doesn't know who Chaz Champagne is?
dumb people, but there's
You know,
people that watch podcasts.
all right, you ready?
Funny.
If y'all say that, because I have a good story on that, actually.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Someone's like, I don't know who you are.
I just got robbed the other day, and they stole all of them bait casters out of my boat, and it was some young kids, and I went to the dock. He's got great surveillance over there, and he let me dig through it all, and I sat there and did surveillance for like 3 hours using his stuff, and I put all of the pieces of the puzzle together, got a description of the kids, this, that, and the other, and it was like some 19-year-old kids. And 3 days later, they're in a little, they did it in a kayak. And what's crazy is they stole the stuff. My friend came over to drink a few beers by boat and tied up here, and we're all hanging out on the porch on a Friday night.
Yeah.
And he slipped in with the kayak and jacked them right there. Anyway, I was on Friday night. On Monday, my wife, I had showed her like what the kids look like and this and that, and she is looking out the window, and there's a little flatboat down the canal with 2 kids that fit the description, and she sent me a picture of it. I said, that is way too convenient. Like, I'll be there in a second. So I go hem them up and everything, and they had like 7 rods in the boat, and none of them were mine. And they did a real good job of being polite and this and that. And I'm like, maybe this is just a weird coincidence, But I showed them the video. I showed them I had the car that they were in. I was like, whoever it is, you're busted. Like, I'm going to find you eventually. And I made them show me their licensing. I had the name then. And they, later on that night, the mama called me and was like, hey, I just want to apologize. My son's so sorry for what he did and this and that. And I'm like, look, y'all do the right thing here. You are turning yourselves in, kind of. Come bring me the poles back. I'll keep the cops off your back, whatnot. I mean, yeah, they had no idea who I was, Again, I told the kids when I met them, my friend's an NOPD officer, and he was with me, and he gave them a good little tongue lashing too and whatever. And I told him, I said, look, man, the way I watched the video, the way y'all snuck up and did it, it was well done.
That's pretty good.
I said, but you stole from the wrong person.
Yeah.
I said, I know everybody on this canal waterway, like, you were going to get caught. I said, you need to go in the back more. Somebody that hadn't lived here that long, you would have got away with that.
They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
What time should I?
I mean, that's me kind of being a smart ass.
Baggers there, a little free.
Well, the mom actually offered that.
Oh, really?
She's like, why don't you just have them come work and do something or whatever? I said, well,
That's who you are.
those pilots I just showed y'all, maybe I'll make them do that.
100%.
Yeah, why not?
That's
Right.
what they gonna
right.
do? Go complain to the cops? Like,
They're not going to say no. They can't say no.
Yeah.
I might do that. But yeah, not everybody knows who we are over here. That's for sure. Because if that kid would have known, what was weird too is he left the 3 spinning rods, and what gave him away. My wife was like, "Look, they're using bait casters, and they don't even know how to throw them." I'm like, "Oh, that's our guys," So then when I hem them up that night, well, when they came and returned them, I said, "Hey, man, why'd y'all?" I've told them this. I said, "Why'd y'all leave the spinning reels?" Because my wife said, y'all can't throw a bait caster worth a damn. Y'all should have stole the spinning reels and left my bait casters. I probably wouldn't even have pursued it.
Shit to him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like,
it's like a catch-22, because if you hire them and you build them up and stuff, they've always had it in them that they're stolen stuff from somebody. But then at the same time,
they
it's
see
like,
that
if they end up being like, these guys end up being a big part of the company. It's like, actually, it's like, how'd you get involved with Matrix Shad? It's like, you're not going to believe this. We stole some rods.
I mean, I was wanting to, I was this close to giving them a pole at the end, but it really is like the last 4 poles I have at the moment. I do need them. So I was like, you know what I'll do? I'll mail them a bait box or something. So I need to do that, because they,
you don't want
thievery is not we've all made mistakes in our life.
Yeah.
That is over the top by far. But everybody makes a mistake at some. The mama was so worried about the boys losing their scholarship. He was a freaking tuba player in the band. I'm like, when did band members start jacking people? Like, what is the world coming to, man?
rap music.
Tim rap.
No, this is
games and rap music.
I don't know. It was crazy, man.
That is wild.
Yeah. That's like stealing from like Carlos Marcello.
I mean, at least on the fishing part, And then when I went and hemmed them up, they didn't have no matrices on none of the poles. I'm like, God, that would have been really funny.
They start whipping them with the pole, you know?
You're
Like,
like,
"Hell's
your
wrong
boy,
with you?"
boom.
You can throw and hit a shop that's got a Matrix Shad like wall display.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So yeah, so sitting down with Chaz Champagne. Chaz, thanks for sitting down with us. We've had a lot of people are like, you got to get Chaz on, and some people, we asked a lot of people like, hey, you know, who's like the biggest killer? What's the biggest legend out there? And you know, we had somebody, they make their list, and I'm like, where do you put Chaz Champagne in that? And then they're like, Chaz is like omnipresent. Like that's just like if you were talking about basketball, like, oh yeah, you should get LeBron on, you should get Jordan on. It's like everyone knows these people.
Right.
So like, you know, I think in the fishing world, especially here, I don't know where it is in other states, but people just know like you're synonymous with the brand and with Matrix Shad. And you know, Chris Bush even, you know, he's like, I remember when Chaz was cooking Matrix Shad he was melting dates in the
I used to pour them one at a time, man. We could make like 70 in a day. Now, granted, we were just using the prototype and shooting it to give it out to the people to see what they thought about it, you know? I mean, you can't make any money doing it like that. You can't make any money pouring stuff in your garage, period, really. I mean, you need to either sub that out or have like your own factory where they're doing that, and you need a marketing guy, a sales guy, a manufacturing guy. Like, it's different pieces. You can't do it all, you know? But as far as like, you know, people putting me on that kind of pedestal as a fisherman and all, like, I was just a kid that didn't know anything at one time too. And the real legends of like Lake Pontchartrain and stuff, the reason I got to where I am now is because those guys showed me, you know. And what happened was when I was 15 years old, my dad died, and he wasn't a huge fisherman or nothing, but he liked it. I was always in love with fishing. Now, I was a big time ball player growing up. I won state in baseball in 1999, big basketball player too. I went to St. Paul's in Covington, and that was like my dad's life. My dad was a starting quarterback for St. Paul's back in 1956. So like sports was everything. Yeah. And when my dad was alive, I liked playing ball, don't get me wrong, but it's nothing to what my love for fishing is. So when he passed, I told my mom, and we had just won state right after he passed in baseball. And I told my mom going into that summer the next year, I was like, look, I don't want to play ball anymore. A, it wasn't the same. My dad was the type to never miss a practice, a game or whatever. It wasn't the same. And then B, it was, I just liked fishing more. And my mom was like, if your daddy'd be rolling over in his grave if he knew you were going to quit ball. I'm like, probably so, but this is what I want to do, you know? And she's like, well, you're telling your coaches. I'm like, all right. And they surely weren't happy either, you know? But I wasn't 6'4" and could dunk, so I ain't going to the NBA. I couldn't shoot it like Steph. And I was like 140 pounds in high school. I wasn't hitting 20 homers a year, so I wasn't going to the MLB. But I was good, you know, for a little guy. But anyway, it's not like I was ever going to make any money on it. So my decision then, which my mother thought was insane, turned out to be the correct decision. Because the one thing she said, if you quit, you're going to get a job. That's all you're doing after school, whatever. I'm like, fine. So I went to the local tackle shop. The name of it was Busy Bee. Very well known before Katrina. It's like where a lot of like the local legends like the Dudleys and Kenny's and Terry Guggenses would hang out. And what I would do is I would save up money. I would fish a lot. And my parents got me a little bitty flatboat. And my rule was until I was like 12, 13, 14 years old is I had to stay in the canals. Well, back then, the Eden Isles was only half developed. So we had plenty of marsh and decent fishing here. It kept me plenty entertained. And then as I got older, like once my dad died, I was on my own and had my driver's license and could launch a boat wherever. But anyway, so I'll get the job at Busy Bee, and any money I would make, I was like, I want to learn how to fish the lake. And everybody, even back then, which was 25 years ago, everybody knew it was hard. Like that was the staple of it, just like that's the staple of it now. They know it's a difficult place to fish. And if you don't have somebody physically teach it to you, or nowadays you got YouTube and all, you can be self-taught. But back then you were not self-teaching yourself that. It's almost impossible. I booked the charter with Kenny. That was my first one, Kenny Krieger. He's got the second biggest trout ever. I learned a lot from Kenny. I booked charters with Dudley, learned a ton from Dudley. booked some trips with Mike Gallo, learned a ton from Gallo. But the guy that really took me under his wing was he worked at Busy Bee also. His name's Terry Googans, who was arguably the best plastic fisherman in the South Louisiana. I mean, you still had all of them guys we mentioned. They did a lot of bait fishing. They were captains. Terry wasn't a captain, so he was artificial year round. And he just showed me just the art of just covering water is just so important. Like fishing, he comes from a heavy background of bass fishing. And all we did and what he showed me and what we do even today is we take a bass fishing tactic and we apply it to the speckled trout red fishing world out here. And bass fishing, especially like power bass fishing, and bass fishing's changed a lot now with these side scans and live scoping and all of that. But Kevin Van Dam and those guys, they're just great power fishermen, man. They just cover ground. And what you're doing is you're eliminating the bad water. And then you find that 5 or 10% of water that does hold the 90% of fish. That's the rule that everybody says, is that 90% of fish live in 10% of the water. And that's the key. And he really showed me the blueprint of how to do this correctly. And he would kidnap me, dude. He would have me out on that. Hey, you want to go fishing tomorrow? Absolutely. You know, I want to learn and learn and learn. And me and him got to be good friends. But that dude, he fished hard, man. Like 5 a.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 3, 4, 5 days a week in the sun, in the middle of the summer. Now I'm only 15 and 20 during that time frame, so it really wasn't that hard. Try to do that now. Yeah. I tell him when I see him or talk to him now, I'm like, dude, don't even invite me to go fishing. I don't want to. I don't want to touch you. I don't have the energy for you. You know. He could put the time in. I hate July. July is horrible. It's so tough. And we've had such a tough July and June and July here in the basin this year because all the rain's been unbelievable. Yeah. But anyway, so that's where it all started. And I worked at Busy Bee 5, 6 years probably. And then I went to college at Southern Miss, and they ended up going out, like getting out of it or whatever. Then I'd worked at Academy some, and then I still got a full-time. I was in college full-time and got a degree. And when I came back from college, my family owned a jewelry store since like 1938. So great backup plan if I wanted to do that. Obviously, I knew the salt's in my blood. I'm not leaving the industry, whether I'd work for a rep company selling merchandise like Shimano or something, or own a marina or be a guide. I mean, I've done all of it. You know what I mean? I've owned the marina right there in the background before, started that. I had my captain's license, done that before. We used to do a lot of, like, you could almost call it internship work for a fishing lure called a hybrid flurry, the guys out of California, where he would send a bunch of products here and we would do the trade shows for him and stuff like that. And kind of been on every side of the business, you know. And then when I got out of college, the people that own that land behind me in the background, they got my number and heard that I'd be a good fit to lease out, like start a fishing thing there. All they had was a boat launch. So when they gave me that opportunity, I didn't look at this as like the end all be all of my career. I just thought it'd be a great stepping stone in the right direction on wherever I ended up going. So I did that for like 6 years, built the marina, all of that. Complete nightmare, but it was a great learning experience. I always tell people that was my boot camp in life. I mean, that was 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day with some of the hardest work there is. Like I see you got a Campos shirt on right now. I was just at Campos a few weeks ago. Those guys in that 4-generation family or whatever, they don't make them no tougher than that. No, like that is the toughest of the toughest, you know? Like, and like Bridgeside Marina, Wrigley's Marina, like the point behind us, like Robbie Campo, who's the one I know the most over there. I mean, the guy they're there all day, every day. Now they love it. They got salt in their blood just like I do, but that's a hard living, you know what I mean? But they do such a good job there and they own the land. It's worth it for them. I was leasing it out here, breaking my neck for pennies, you know what I mean? Now, if I had the whole establishment with the storage and all of that, now you're talking real money, you know? But all I had was selling some lures and shrimp. So anyway, my first year in business, the BP oil spill hits. And we're all like, are you kidding me? Like, of course I get in this business and you can't even, I mean, the fishing was shut down. Like you couldn't even go. granted, BP took care of you financially, all of the businesses. So they gave me a fair amount of money. And what I had to do with that was build the building. So I ran it all out of construction trailer because I didn't own the land. So I didn't want to build a building on their property. But the parish was forcing me into building a building because that's code and rules and all of that. They wouldn't going to allow me to run the business out the construction trailer except for 6 months. It was like a temporary permit. So I had to take the money BP gave me and build the building on their property. I could either pocket it and got out, which wouldn't have been a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Or take all the money they gave me and build a building and stay in business. And then I took a portion of the money and built a mold for Matrix. Because I said, look, in that business, we were only busy from daylight and at sunset, basically, like open and close. Yeah. You got a big rush of people in the mornings. Then the shrimp boat comes in around 12. You unload the boat. That was a little work. And then at night, you cleaning out the tanks, close it up, whatever. The other 6 hours of dead time, we're just sitting there. We used to actually watch Jerry Springer every day. All we had was little rabbit antennas on a little TV. And you ask anybody that was over there with me from day one, they will tell you Jerry Springer was on every day.
That's classic. Man.
And I told him, I said, look, I don't mind paying you guys to be here with me to watch Jerry, but we got to do something, so instead of selling these other products that I'm buying from my distributor and stuff, let's just make our own. Yeah. So we know what the plastic needs to look like. We know how it should swim. This is all we do. This is all we know. So the people, me and a friend of mine named Steve Wicks are the ones that really cut the molds, drew it up, cat drawings and all of that. And I just had the greatest people behind me to, once we built it and got the prototypes, to shoot the mold, to give the products out to, for them to go test it and give me their honest feedback. And everybody just loved it. And we kind of hit a home run with it. And what basically happened was the marina did such a great job marketing it. I knew when the lure came in and it was a good lure, I knew it would get there at some point, So if I didn't have the marina, maybe it takes 5 years to get it there. Yeah. But by having a marina, you got all of the marketing and advertising power. And I'm dealing with the whole community every day. And we got ice chests of fish and fishermen coming in. What'd you catch them on? Oh, this right here. It was just the easiest way to showcase a product, Yeah. So instead of being 5 years, it took 5 weeks. And it took off. And then it gets to the point where I'm running this marina, which is a headache out of its mind, and trying to start a business that's blowing up. That wasn't really a headache. I'd much rather do this. This was built for me. This is what I was meant to do this, I'm not the hard worker like the Campo family is. They're a lot tougher than I am. You know what I mean? So that basically had to choose, let's put all our eggs in this basket and get out of that. And that ended up being the best decision I ever made. Let me think.
Were you with her?
Yeah. I definitely was. I don't know if I was married yet, but she definitely, we met. She actually had a real job from Denham Springs, and she would bartend on the weekends just to pick up extra money at the restaurant. And I was always, had a crush on her. So after work, I'd always see if she was working. I'd go get a beer, and see what she'd said. But so then we started dating. She would help me on the weekends over here, counting shrimp and all of that. I remember my shrimper back then was like, hey, you got to keep her there, dude. She's digging into freaking shrimp takes and stuff like that. And anyway, I can't remember if we were married when Matrix started or whatnot, but she was friends with the old owners of the place, and that's how me and her met and whatever. But she didn't really give me a left or right answer on should we do the lure or stay in the marina business or any of that. That was kind of my call on that one. And I just saw the writing on the wall of this is much more up my alley, and I think this was the better game plan, and we've just been running with it since, and we started with 3 colors. This was one of them, the Midnight Mullet, the other one was Shrimp Creole, and the other one was Lemonhead. And
AG3
first. And when we first started, the company that we subbed out to pour them for us, it was 10,000 units per color. So, it's not a huge investment, but it's not like chump change either. I had to buy 10,000 units and there it went. And as we sold that off, then we went to 4 colors and then 6 and then 8. And then I'm like, well, why don't we do jig heads? And then why don't we do this? And next thing you know, I got most of everything out here that we carry. We're up to probably 200 items. If you factor in all of the colors and different size jig heads and fishing line, the sunglasses I'm wearing, hats and shirts and rods and corks, and I mean the list goes on and on. Crawfish. I mean it's
what's the number one seller?
It's probably lemonhead with green hornet is probably close. It's in there. I'd have to look at the numbers, but lemonhead at one point was like 20-1, like an average seller.
Really?
Yeah. And if it was up to me, I would just do one, two, three colors. I mean, it'd just be easy. But these fishermen are crazy. They really are. They think all that stuff matters. And
you heard it
this tells you that I'm not like a used car salesman trying to pitch this to you, because if I was, I'd be like, oh, you got to have this for this, and you got to have this for that, and you got to have this for this. And I get it. Granted, there's a situation for everything. Yeah. But as far as like this opaque purple and this opaque purple, dude, if you're going to tell me that I have to have that when they don't bite that, you are wrong.
Crazy.
You're wrong. Like I've bent my mouth there too much to agree with that. Now, like a black one versus a glow, I'll listen to that argument. I still don't really care. You can ask all my friends, what lure does Chaz go? He grabs whatever on the floor and puts it on the hook. I don't care. Now, if I catch 4 in a row and I break off, well, I'm going to find that one.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not like nuts.
Everyone, you're a fisher.
But I'm not going to dig in the bottom of a box either. Like if I don't see it boom right there, I'm like, okay, just grab something. Let's go. Because the main thing is your hook ain't in the water, you ain't catching a fish.
Yeah. Right.
That's key. Yeah. So these guys that are like in the same spot, casting in the same spot and putting on a new lure, quit doing that. Like a new color, quit doing that. A new lure, that's a different story. Right. Maybe they want a pop and cork. Maybe they want a jerk bait or a top water. Maybe they want the jig on the bottom. Yeah. That's a different story. Now that does matter. But a 3/8 ounce jig head and a different color and you're hitting the bottom every time, I just don't believe it. Yeah. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
You know?
One of the things about Matrix Shad, I mean, you are intimately the brand. Like the brand is, kind of, you two are inextricably linked. Yeah. You were the marketing, you were the packager. You do.
I wear all the hats. I wear all the hats. Yeah, the janitor.
I know people that are like, without all that, the bait still works. And
it's a good product. Yeah, it's a good product. I wouldn't. Like I said, I'm not a used car sales. That's not my thing. I would not endorse something that isn't a good product. Yeah. So I get all kinds of samples and stuff in. I scrap a bunch of stuff. I'm like, I don't like it. Gone. Yeah. Even though I could have got it at a really good price, or they were going to discount it to me or whatever. I'm like, I don't like it. It's not a good product.
Yeah. And I think we saw that somewhat with the shrimp. You're testing out the shrimp. You want to make sure it's going to match.
That's why it took 2 years, man.
Yeah.
It took 2 years for me to really be happy with it,
you talk about like the fish forage and whatnot. The Matrix Shad does extremely well here. The battle tail.
I mean, I throw it 90% of the time.
Yeah,
90% of the time I'm throwing ultraviolet or green hornet.
Motion. Yeah. And this is what I say about a lot of lures. And there's a lot of good ones out there. It's not like you have to buy this one.
Yeah.
Put it on a 1/4 ounce jig head, let it free fall to the bottom, and if the tail flaps, that's a good product. Yeah. Now, they got a lot of great products out there where you'll get the flapping tail, but you can only catch like 1 fish per lure. It's soft. So that's what you got. You either got a real durable lure that's great to throw under the birds or something, you can catch 100, but you'll put it on a 1/4 ounce jig head and it'll spiral down. That's no good. Or you'll have a lure that can hold up 1 fish per lure, kind of like a plastic worm or something. They just tear up. But that flap is beautiful. So you want to find that magic in betweener, And I feel like we've done a good job with that. Yeah. And like I said, this is all I know. So when we were building this and cutting this, and with a plastic lure like a Matrix, you can make it however hard you want the plastic to be. Like you can make the plastic harder by pouring this chemical in it or whatever it is. When I used to pour them, like Chris Bush said, 1 at a time, like I'd have to dump a hardener in there if I wanted it harder, or not put it in there if you wanted it softer, These baits are way more durable in the winter. That's a tremendous difference. I can catch like 20 trout on 1 Matrix Shad in the winter. In the summer, it's more like 3 or 4.
Yeah. And
I get people all the time like, did you like change the lure up? I'm only catching like 2 or 4 fish per lure. I'm like, no, dude, it's July. And the molecules break down. I'm no scientist, but the molecules break down or whatever.
I mean, just go touch your graph in the summertime.
Yeah, I mean,
that thing's 100
this
degrees.
stuff is temperature dependent.
No
if you're
doubt.
So I think, yeah, it's always a trade-off of the balance of like the action versus like how much action do you want it to have versus how durable you want it to be. But then I find that when it gets chewed up, man, that's hard to beat those baits.
I agree. I've talked to Dudley before, and I remember him telling me, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you're in competition with Dudley and this and that. And I'm like, dude, Dudley and I are really good friends. Like, Dudley is at the age where he's like retiring, and then I'm coming into the industry too. And I tell people all the time, it's no competition. I wouldn't even know that this industry is possible if I didn't know Dudley back in the day. He like he showcased it to where like I look at him as an icon, like I want to do that with my life one day, you know? But anyway, Dudley said the same thing. He's like, don't you notice that if you're using a lure that's been used and catching fish, it does better? I'm like, I do feel like it's better than out the pack. I've said that before. Now, it might be because it's got a little fish slime on, a little stink to it. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. But I've noticed that too. I don't know. But a lot of fishermen get way too in detail of like why the fish are doing what they're doing. Look,
they'll sit there and change colors 100 times, and they're sitting on no fish.
And having all these theories on this and that. I used to have a guy from Mexico that worked with me a lot, and I'd come back in from fishing. He'd always say, how'd you do? And with his broken English. I said, I didn't do that good. He said, oh, no, fish no hungry today. It's just that simple, guy. Like, don't try to overanalyze this. They're there, they're not.
Yeah. Be there when the
let's talk about the newest, greatest lure
I can
that Matrix Shad has made.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
a trolling rig.
This is money in the bank. I would do like to propose that you put Stanley Fink's face on.
Yeah, for sure. So that's basically Stanley's product. I just basically manufactured it for him, and we make our little cup and sell it to him. But you know, Stanley was like, what should we name it or whatnot? I'm like, y'all can name it whatever you want, but I'll allow you to use the Matrix logo, and I would use that considering it's got, you know, household name marketing already. I'll just use that. I mean, I wouldn't come up with some crazy name. Just let me make it for you. Yeah. And we get a lot of competitors this is a very hard business to get into. Yeah. And like I said, I started from 15. It starts from there. So I built all of the reputation. I mean, all the reputation and all of the, you know, the friendships with the right people along that 15-year process. I didn't really start making a revenue on this till I was 30, and I started this at 15. Yeah. So these people at our age now try to get into this. You're gonna. It's a bad idea. If you're gonna start at a young age because you're gonna be eating rice and beans for a long time, don't invest this money into this industry if you got a family and all, because you might lose your family real quick. Yeah. You know, it's like trying to be a rock star or something. Like some people make it, or a baseball player, but it's highly unlikely, you know. And I tell people that I see trying something and they're good guys. I'm like, look, why don't you just let me make you something for you and go sell it? You'll make money instead of dropping 10, 20, 30,000 with a maybe you get into the market, you know. But everybody wants to have their own name or label on it. And I get it, but to create that label, man, it's a lot. It's a lot of work, and you got to get lucky, and you got to make your own luck too, you know. I mean, we've had lucky breaks here and there, and it's all I do too, man. It's all I know. Yeah. You know, I mean, I'm not a jack of all trades.
Well, it seems like you recognize a lot of trends, you know, early on, like working in that, you know, working in every piece of the industry. You got to see, you know, okay, yeah, I think this could work here. Right. And then you filled your idle time. A lot of people never do that. They're like, man, I would love to be on the water and fishing every day and blah, blah, blah. So they see where you're at and they go, I want to do that same thing. If I make my own bait, then I can do that, but don't realize what's behind it.
No doubt.
You know?
No doubt.
And then I think one of the things that's unique with you is, you know, in this area especially, nobody really talks about how to fish or where to fish, and you have no problem putting it out there. No. Like, hey guys, we're on Highway 11. Nope. This is exactly how I'm doing it. This is what I'm using. And
that's kind of the theory of the business. I want to, you know, you just throw this to a novice and say this catches fish. That ain't going to help him. Yeah. Like, you throw this to a novice and show him how to use it, when to use it, in this situation or that situation. You might actually put him on the fish, and then you got a customer for life. You know what I mean? I'm trying to show him how to do it correctly. And as far as the videos go, I could easily shoot a video on Monday and air it that night. And people would love that because I'm spoon feeding you. Go here, you're going to catch them. The problem with that is I'm going to piss off half my friends. And I do not like that. I would get way more views. I'd probably sell more product. But my friendships and with my acquaintances is more important to me than money. I'm not like this money guy. I'm more, I love fishing, and I'm blessed to be able to do this for a living, and I'm going to keep it. I just want to be able to do it and pay my bills and stay in this industry.
So you still have the mentality of like, this is fun than your hobby.
No doubt. That's
the way to do
no
it,
doubt.
man.
No
That's
doubt.
the way to keep it.
I mean, it gets a little aggravating. It's a little more fun not pulling the camera out and just fishing. But it's not like it ruins the trip to pull the camera out. And if we're catching fish, dude, pull the camera out. It's my business. Oh yeah. We got it down to a science. Yeah, we got it down to a science.
And some of that latency between when you film and when you release is like 3 months, because I have my own stories.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the furthest for sure. I try to do it about 5 to 6 weeks is normal, and it just depends on what it is. Like if it's something that my buddy told me about that not a lot of people know, I'm gonna hold that a little longer and give him the respect. You know what I'm saying? If it's something I found and I'm the only one fishing, I really don't care if other people are on it, I'll hand it to you. It just kind of depends. I always have like 5 to 15 videos ready to go on deck. And now the one thing I don't want to do is air a video in July that I'm wearing like an all-in-one suit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Most of the videos, even though it might be 4 weeks later, it's still relevant. It don't mean you can't go there and do what I just showed you, and it not work.
And it's relevant again for the next.
That's the biggest thing. And the smartest guys out there, they'll just look at the published date. And I'll tell you this right now: look at the published date, subtract it by 6 weeks, use it next year, and it's money in the bank.
It's the same patterns.
So what's interesting, and what my own story is that during the Redfish Jubilee, I'm fishing this area, and I hear this guy talking to himself. I'm like, oh, there's somebody around the corner from where I'm fishing from. And then I see your boat, and I'm like, oh, this is definitely Chaz.
Where were we? That was when we were at the Violet Lock, and you were that was you in that flats boat?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Okay.
Well, I
didn't even know that.
Hey, Chaz, do you mind?
I
said, do you mind if I go around you?
Not of his life.
Not at all.
I was really like blocking him off.
I'm texting my buddies immediately. Chaz is fishing over here. So I go around you, and you're like, hey, we're catching them over here. And I was like, are you that Marshman guy? And you go, no, I'm that other guy. I said, I know who you are, man.
Yeah. So my memory, and my wife, she gets aggravated all the time. It's not the greatest at a lot of things, but when it comes to a fishing thing, dude, I fish 4 days a week. I know exactly what you're talking about. I could almost tell you, put it within a week of what it was. I could tell you exactly what we caught there. I mean, I just have a really good memory for fishing trips, and that's like pretty important for being like a good angler, because I can remember, I'll go out there and be presented a situation, whether the weather's like this or the tide's doing that or the water's doing this or whatever, and something will just click in my head from 9 years ago. Oh, you remember that? Whenever it was doing this, that, or the other, we need to go check that. You know what I mean? And it's important to remember, have a good memory with it.
We talked to a guy. He's a psychiatrist, and he talked about fishing is serotonin. People think of serotonin as like that's the drug,
right?
But serotonin is actually a memory drug.
Okay.
And so, like when you go out fishing, you have an awesome day.
Okay.
That serotonin gets released, because that's when we were in caveman times, that's what used to happen is if you found a meal, you remember how you did it, because that's what keeps you alive.
Okay.
And so you think about fishing,
That makes sense.
I'm sure when you caught that tarpon, you know exactly the conditions, you know exactly the day.
I could almost tell you the blade of grass I cast it at.
Exactly.
Have the hook set and all on film. It was just so lucky, We weren't even doing that good that day, and I was getting into this dead-end pocket in the back of Lakeshore, and I knew we were going to get some bites. And we had caught enough fish to where I needed to finish the video. I was like, we got to catch 2 or 3 more to finish this video. Like, we got half the video done. So I told the kid with me, I was like, look, just keep it on record. I know I'll catch a little bass here, a little trout or something. And the shots are better if it's the cast, the hook set while you're talking, blah, blah, blah. And I make the cast, and I'm twitching it. I'm using a jerkbait. And I'm throwing in like some coontail grass and ripping it out of there into like 15 foot of water. And I see this big flash on the lure. And it's very uncommon for a tarpon, right? But I saw it. And if you listen real close to the video, I'm like, was that a tarpon? And then I twitch it one more time and he hits it. And as soon as I hit him, it was like less than a second from the hook set to him being 5 feet out the water. And I'm like, that was a freaking tarpon. Like, I knew it.
He didn't expect to get caught, you know?
I probably would only have landed that fish just because I had 6 super sharp little miniature treble hooks all up in him. You know, if I hit that fish with a jig head, highly likely all them jumps he's gonna throw it. This is my Blakely girl. This is my fishing buddy right here. So, but these guys, if you're on camera right now, we're talking about fishing and how we all got started and how we make these lures and all of that. Yeah. So yeah, this one's hers. So this is the first time we made a lure named after her. This is called the Blakely Bug, and that's her name is Blakely.
Oh, I love that one. I'm gonna have to use that one.
And Blakely, like I was discussing earlier, how I was a big ball player growing up, that's my ball player. My oldest one's the princess, and they call her on the ball field Bulldog Blake. That's her nickname. And she is every bit of that.
That's awesome.
She's super competitive.
Yeah, I've been seeing you catching some massive trout.
Yeah, which one?
Are you catching those, or is your dad catching them and using?
She's just getting to the point.
She's catching them.
She's just getting to the point where she can So when we drop shot this, and that's why we named it Blakely Bug. This is so user friendly for a kid with the drop shot. You just wiggle the tip, and she can do this on her own. Now, jigging a lure, like casting, jigging a bridge, she's getting there, but it's more sit right by me. Daddy will hook it. Here's the pole. Do your thing. And then you see her muscling it up, and then I'll get the net. And sometimes she's like, Dad, you reel it in. I'll get the net for you. But she likes that sight fish in the reds. You like when we go see the stingrays and the gars and stuff like that. And she stands on the platform with me, and she's got good eyes. She'll see if she's like, there's one, Dad. She'll spot him before me sometimes.
That's awesome.
The old block, huh?
Yeah, she'll be her mom is a pretty good fisherman, to be honest with you. And it's just, with kids now, it's just.
How old are you, Blakely? 7, same
7.
age as my son. Wow. And then you go to summer camp? That's fun. What you like catching redfish or trout better?
Yeah, they fight.
Yeah, that's a good fight. And then
She loves fishing rodeos. That's her thing right now.
The competition side.
She likes winning trophies.
Watch out, Josh Hall,
Yep.
So yeah, Chris Bush asked us, he said, ask Chad Champagne if he knows who Josh Hall is.
Josh? Of course, yeah. Me and Josh go way back, for sure. Josh is a for real fisherman. He's one of the more talented, like, with a rod and reel, backhand cast, front hand cast, feeling a bite, all of the stuff. He's for real.
He hit that Pontchartrain pop
He
like
can
you.
do all of that.
So where'd you get the Pontchartrain pop from?
Terry Googans, no doubt. Terry, that's just his natural way of jigging. So naturally, that's how I started jigging a lure. And then it takes a long time to get that grip on that rod and reel with that angle and give it that much ferocity.
Still be able to feel it.
I do a lot of line watching is what a lot of people need to get good at when it comes to any type of 10, 20 foot of water. Bottom fishing is don't be sitting there doing that and like talking to your friend or whatever. You talk to your friend while you're fishing, but always watch that little light bow in your line. That tells you everything. Yeah. So you want to use line that you can see. So braid's fine. I'm not a braid guy. Braid's fine, but if you're wanting to fish out here with the braid, I would highly recommend like the yellow or bright blue where you can visually see it, and then just tie your fluoro leader on the bottom or whatever, Yeah. So I use a lot of we make a monofilament. I use a mono a good fair amount. I can see it real good, and then the fluorocarbon I see good too. And I'm getting more and more in the fluoro. These fish are getting smarter, in my opinion. We're just getting we're getting less fish, a lot more pressure. They're smarter. It's not as many. The fish are a little smarter than we think. You know what I mean? Especially these boats that just drive over a spot that's 4 or 5 foot deep and they don't even respect the spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like if you're in 20, 30 foot of water, I leave the motor running. I'll pull up to a spot a lot of times and just throw it in neutral in 20 foot and just drop shot that shrimp or something like that. And just to check it, I'm looking for a home run. You know what I mean?
Dude, so same.
I was doing the math. And when you were 15, that was like right when that was like late 90s?
98, 99, 2000.
Dude, like that is,
speckled trout fishing.
Oh my goodness.
That the Gulf Coast has ever seen. And it's not just like Pontchartrain. It was all of Louisiana. You'd have to ask Chris Bush. Well, Chris wasn't even living in Texas back then, but you'd have to do some research on Texas and all. But it was from Calcasieu all the way to here. If you look at the record books of the top 10, like 4 of them came in that stretch.
So what do you think it was?
Oh, man, that's a good question from Hassan. If y'all ever talk to him, he's really intelligent when it comes to the biology of stuff like that. I'm pretty knowledge with that kind of stuff. I don't know. Salt is extremely important. When we had a tremendous drought year, or maybe years, Hurricane George hit like Pascagoula / Gulfport, like in 98, if I'm not mistaken. And so we didn't get the wet side of the storm. We just got the salt intrusion in the storm. Salt's important. And then, if I'm not mistaken, 97 or 98, so we probably had this big surge of big fish. It was just set up right, you know? And we get a pretty good spillway opening that I recall in like 97. And I've seen years where we get a lot of spillway open, or like a lot of fresh water out of the western end of the lake. And it's going to just push them fish off the power lines over there, the causeway and all of that, and move them east. Because the trout are going to try to find, especially in like spawning season, they're going to try to find the saltiest water. And back in those days, you had the Mississippi being open. So the trout would live in the lake year round. That doesn't happen anymore. That's just like, anybody that says that, I disagree. Yeah. Like maybe the males, the little schoolies do, but you see how very small amount. We're catching them 2 to 4 pounders like they're going out of style in March, April, May, October, November, December, January. It's easy. A 3 pounder is no big deal. Go find me a 3 pounder. You go wherever you want in the lake and find me a 3 pounder right now. I'll kiss you, bud. Good luck. Now, back in those days, Seabrook Bridge, man, more 5 pounders were caught out of a 100 square foot area than I'd say anywhere in the state of Louisiana. If you want to take a pound for pound, one place, there's no doubt. From Seabrook. No doubt. And that Seabrook peaked in May and June. And then when you get into July and August, if the Pearl River was low, the Highway 90 bridge and the L&N bridge were premier. And then everything besides the months I just said, that would be the bridge season, and then January, February, March, that all just depend on how harsh of a winter you had. You know what I mean? If it was a really harsh cold front, you got to back off the trout and go red fishing. But if it was a mild January, you just keep fishing the bridges for big trout. I mean, and some of the biggest trout are in the dead of the winter, like Krieger's 12 pounder. That was caught at the end of the winter end of January on Super Bowl Sunday. Typically, most of your big fish are going to be in March, April, May, because you're going to get a pot belly on them from the spawning. So you get like an extra half a pound to a pound, but.
It seems like this year you've been whacking some donkeys, so.
Yeah, I mean, we had a really bad run for like 4 or 5 years. I would say it's on the uphill. Yeah. But if I'm going to scale it a 1 to 10, and with 98, 99, and 2000 being a 10, we're still at like a 5 now. That's how big it was. Jeez. I mean, I've had catching a 5-fish 30-pound stringer back in those days was very common. Like if you caught a 5 pounder and came to like Busy Bee where I was telling you, we didn't care. That was just normal. Not a big deal. Now you better bring like a 7, 8, 9 pounder we're going to pull out the scale and sit around and talk about it for a while and all of that, Yeah. I mean, a 5 pounder is still a nice fish, but it just wasn't a big deal. And I'm young at that point. I just thought that was the way it was.
Yeah. These little small schoolies under the birds.
So this is what we need to happen. We need the spillway to stay closed, and we need Pascagoula to get hit by a storm.
I mean, they got to open the MRGO. Like, I'm fine with the Chalmette wall. That's fine. I get it. Like, catching big speckled trout is not more important than protecting people's lives and stuff like that. But the dam in Shell Beach, come on, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? What is that thing? 5, 6, 7, 8 foot above the sea level?
Water goes through it now. It just doesn't go through it at the rate that
you want.
But what I'm saying is, like, it's going to get covered immediately with the initial storm surge. It's going over it. And like, how much money is invested in the Chalmette wall? I don't know, $100 million, whatever. We can't take 1% of that money and build a lock system at the dam. I mean, doing here. We did the most incredible engineering project on probably the Gulf Coast history, but 40 miles up the road, we did it the 1900 style and just throw some rocks in the water. Come on, man.
Borrowed it from the Long Rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, what are we
We
doing?
can take those rocks and put them in Lake
Go give them
Charles.
back down there, and let's build a lock.
I mean, I don't know how much I don't know how much it costs to build a lock, but that certainly seems like the obvious correct way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm surprised Robbie ain't put a crew together and said, "The hell with this freaking dam," and went and just took them out himself.
That's what we need to do. Yeah.
You know,
Well,
the
when we get
rock-
Robbie and crew on
I'm
live from Campos, we'll bring that up.
Yeah.
I never looked at the laws and removing dams, but I'd imagine that's an incredibly big federal offense.
Probably.
I'm sure Robbie would know the answer to that. But I mean, Robbie,
He's probably got the answer. He's probably
the thoughts probably cross his mind because his business is great no matter what, but it's got to make it harder for him because just to catch the shrimp, if he's got to go on the backside of the dam, he's got to go all the way around and all of that because the MRGO is such a great place for them to catch their bait.
Mhm.
And it just changed the whole ecosystem, man.
It really did.
And I'm not saying it's a bad. I mean, we're going to adapt to whatever it is. All we do is just lower our standards now. You know, if I was used to catching 6, 7, and 8 pound trout regularly, now I'm used to catching 3 and 4 pound trout regularly, where a 5 pounder is a big one. You know, it is what it is.
It'll ever get back
I don't.
without because the Mr. goes
That hurt
on
me
open.
when you
Do you
said
think
that.
that's
No, I don't think it's just a miss to go because, dude, it's a good barometer to look at is go back and look at all of the star winning leaderboards. I think the star probably started in like 96, 97. Go look at what you needed to win it from 96 all the way to like about 2010, 2012, which is when they closed the MRGO. And those weights versus what you needed to win now. A 6 pounder will get you there now. Yeah. Back then, a 6 pounder wouldn't touch it.
I know, my boy just caught a 7 pounder.
Chad said, I sent him a picture of it, and I said,
Yeah.
it's like, should have saved that fish for next month. I was like, I don't know if it'll be there next month.
Yeah.
It's not going to be there next.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
So if you had to catch a star-winning trout, where would you go? What area?
you'd got to go down to like, I'm not an expert on this area, but they've been a lot of star-winning fish for the East category, which is our category. A lot of star-winning fish are coming like the backside of the Chandelier Islands, you know, whether it's Brett and Gosier, whatever they all got out there.
Yeah.
And from what I hear, I think the bigger ones are caught on the ocean side. I don't know. I'm not a big island fisherman. You got the Block 69 rig system, which is out of like Pasalucha and all of that. And then where most boats have been won in the history of the Star in the East Division is the mouth of South Pass. They got a rock jetty there. I don't know exactly how you set up on it or whatnot, but that is like the Seabrook. Now, before they closed the MRGO, we could hang with Venice. They would win more boats than we would, but we'd win one here and there, you know. Venice, so they used to do it a boat giveaway for June, a boat giveaway for July, a boat giveaway for August. I think the Causeways won a star boat before, but that was back before when we had salt.
I've always said, you know, your biggest trout, and still to this day, I think the best two places to catch trout are Venice and Lake Pontchartrain. Yeah, I think they're one and two.
I mean, and our estuary is definitely pretty strong from October through May. And then Venice just is, it's all decided by the river level.
Oh, 100%.
It's all decided.
100%.
And that Mardi Gras Pass is a disaster.
So tell us your thoughts on that. Why is it a disaster?
Well, it's a disaster for anybody that really wanted to fish, that love catching speckled trout south of Oak River, American Bay, California Bay, Black Bay, all of that. You know, now you just got a freshwater diversion going right into it. And, you know, look, again, I'm not a scientist. You got a lot of advocates out there like Macaluso and them that love the freshwater and say it's building all this land. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I'm not disagreeing with it. But on the flip coin of it, they do build these diversions and all this stuff. And yeah, maybe it builds a little bit of land back. But the next freaking hurricane's taking it. Like, you're not stopping Mother Nature. So, like, spending the money on these diversions and all, is it even worth our tax dollars? I'm more like, you just got to roll with the times, you know, or go build some barrier islands out there like they do in Dubai and stuff and dredge or something like that. Because to me, diversions ain't the answer. Like that. And is it worth giving up the entire saltwater industry just to build a little bit of marsh grass back? You know what I'm saying? Like oyster fishermen done from those areas that were discussed. Forget it. It's cooked. Shrimpers in that area for brown shrimp, cooked. Like speckled trout people, it's done. Or it's way worse. Like, I feel bad for the people like that have camps down in Point LaHash and stuff like that. They like Delacroix, all of that. It's got its moments, but those used to be, that was SeaWorld back in the day. I mean, that was it. That was the place.
It's changed a lot.
Yeah. People talk about Delacroix.
I mean, the dredging and diverting is like a massive topic, obviously.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think there's
making money.
There's a middle ground that they could meet in, but it seems like they just refuse to do it.
You just got to blow up the levees.
I think you could do both.
I'm probably on a list now,
divert,
but
you know,
blow up the Mr. Go, blow up the levees. What else can we do?
Again, it comes to like, we're talking about making speckled trout better. Is that a bigger priority than building land and stuff like that? To me, I love speckled trout. So I'm like, I'm a bad person to ask that to. You ask somebody that don't fish that lives in the lower Ninth Ward or something, they're going to tell you, absolutely, we want the dam there and all of that. You know what I mean? So
got to keep the saltwater out.
Yeah.
We're trying to get the saltwater in.
I want all kinds of saltwater.
We just need it.
I think that I'm a big fan of the freshwater myself. And would you believe it though if I told you that people were waxing speckled trout, lemons of trout in like the lily pad?
Yeah. I mean, so what happens is when you hit like May and it's pure like 100% spawning season, speckled trout know they need saltier water to float the eggs. So March, April, February, whatever, they're right on the fringe of knowing that. So you'll still catch them in them freshwater areas. But as soon as May, June, July hits, they're going to push out of there. Yeah. Like, they're not going to be around Mardi Gras Pass. I mean, you might get the malies and a few pound and a halfers still laying around, but those 20-plus inches, they're going to the outside. Now, the outside before Mardi Gras Pass, the Black Tank, you know, Stone Island, Bell Island, all of that, that's the outside. You want to catch a 5, 6, 7 pounder, go throw a topwater on any of them islands. You're in the ballpark. Nowadays, forget it. You got to run all the way to Chandelier, and you got to get into that real salt, you know? But what blows my mind is I hear Point LaHash really ain't even that good in the fall and winter like it used to be. I don't know.
I haven't fished it all that much. I've fished it more recently, but I know every time I'm going to Delacroix, it seems like I'm pushing more and more towards Point LaHash where I'm catching them.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this time of year, they're all way
Not my
outside
favorite
now.
area.
But I think Mardi Gras Pass, I mean, it's a huge issue for depending on who you talk to. But I think what it's done with that area, it kind of fishes more like Venice. Like, you know, with that much river water influence, the trout, when the river gets high, they're going to move like right on the edge of it. They kind of like hug
that's what makes Louisiana great is the fresh and salt water. It's got to be, when all the stars align, you can't touch this place.
Without
But in order to get the stars aligned, we have to deal with the rainy years and the floods and the spillway openings and all of that, which your fishing's going to be really bad and set it back. And then you got to deal with what I've been noticing is the ecosystem changes so rapidly now. You go from a double spillway opening or a super high Pearl River, a super high Mississippi River, and the bass fishing explodes that year, right? And then, so I'm cool with that. Give me a killer marsh bass and I'll catch 50 marsh bass a day. That's fine with me. I love it. But then as soon as that gets all primed up, next thing you know, here comes a hurricane blowing back and killing all your marsh bass.
You can't control Mother Nature.
No.
And, you know, I think people just want to fight for something. Yeah. You know, and that's why, Mother Nature.
That's what I said. I said, you just got to roll with the punches. The only thing that's guaranteed in life is change. That's the only thing. And you got to roll with it.
And the Pearl's been high recently, hasn't it?
The Pearl kills us more than the Mississippi does. You know, I'd almost rather light spillway opening than a high Pearl. I mean, the Pearl.
Let's take the rocks from the Mr. Go and dam the Pearl.
That would definitely flood a lot of people in Bogalusa and everywhere else.
I love the Pearl River system, though, especially in the fall, like Mud Lake, man. That's just a tremendous fishery.
The Pearl River fishery, from the Pearlington Bridge all the way down south to where you talk about Mud Lake, in my opinion, is the most underrated fishery in maybe Louisiana. I think that's the most underrated fishery. So when Katrina hit, it put an incredible saltwater wedge into everywhere. You know, Venice was out of control. We were kind of struggling a little bit, like, where are the fish at? What's going on? But there was so much salt. We started getting reports of people catching them like off the bank by the Pearlington Bridge and stuff. So Terry started saying, let's go fish all my bass spots and stuff, because he knew the river inside and out with bass fishing. He used to fish a lot of bass tournaments, and we start fishing that river. We didn't catch a bass, but oh my gosh, and it's redfish. It was the closest thing you're ever going to see to like Venice fishing the Roseau canes when you're catching trout, reds, bass, flounder, all in one, 75 trout, 15 red, like madness. And we were bringing sportsmen. We brought Rusty Tardo out to do an article, and a lot of people just weren't aware of the river having that kind of fishery. Again, it's timing. It's got to be when the saltwater wedge gets in there and all right, but the Pearl River is still a great place in September, October, November. As long as that pearl's low, which that's 90% of the time going to be your driest months. September, October, November is your driest months. Yeah. That's when your rivers are going to be the lowest. And the pearl is the same concept as Venice. You know what I mean? Right. So when it drops, time that you can catch them way up the pearl. I mean, I don't go there as much as I used to because the boat stays on the hoist here. That's a pretty good little hike for me to get like up. No. My cutoff is like midway. And that boat, midway. Bourne is a dangerous place.
Yeah, dude, I was with my father-in-law not long ago. We were crossing. It was really choppy, and you know, if you look at Lake Bourne, it's not nearly as big as Lake Pontchartrain, but it seems like it gets way, way choppier to me.
I would run out all the way Lake Bourne, 9 Mile, and all that in my little skiff, the one that you got video.
I mean, hey, I'm not saying you can't do it. Yeah, like Devin Demmon's the most fearless guy I've ever met in my life. He'll go. That guy's a maniac, and. Well, I remember one day I saw him leaving here I was coming out to go screw around with something, and he's coming out. He's like, I'm gonna go try the rigs by Williams. I said, like by Kenner? He's like, yeah. I'm like, dude, it's like noon in the middle of the summer. I'm looking at the clouds are just blowing up. You know what I mean? It wasn't raining yet, but I'm like, dude, you're playing with fire, bro. And he's in that little bass boat thing or whatever. Plenty big enough boat, perfect boat for fishing out here, but running midday to Williams rigs from E. Niles in the summer.
He's a Viking.
He is a wild man.
Yeah, you got to risk it for the business.
That's it. I told Devin, I said, dude, you are the bravest guy I've ever met. Oh,
and this past April, we launched in Venice with Devin, and we launched at like 4:30 in the morning, pitch black. Dude whips out night vision goggles and just sends it through these ponds where if it's daylight, you're like, where did we go?
Yep.
Make like an S through it.
Yep. Devin's a sharp guy. He's kind of an innovator, think out the box kind of guy for sure.
He's a good fisherman too.
Yeah, for sure. He ain't afraid to make the run. I'm more like, I get invited on offshore trips and all of that. All the time, and I'm like, dude, I'm good. I'd rather sit with her and catch croakers off the dock.
And I like that about you. You just kind of do what you like, and you stick with it.
I catch whatever's in the backyard. I'll go after. We had a tremendous puppy drum run back in like 2009, like 7, 8, 9, 10, like an incredible drum run on the twin span at Bridges. That's what we got. Let's go fish. I don't care.
Restaurants.
I don't care. Yeah, it's good to me.
Speaking of this boat, I have been a subscription box member since 2023. October.
All the money just goes to her.
Oh, I believe it. And then I got one of my
kids.
And Charlie and your sister, yeah.
So I've done the math on it. If you sold this Riptide and took the money that I've spent on these boxes, you could buy a spot lock trolling motor.
Yeah. Okay, so I get asked.
I was gonna say, how often you get asked?
I obviously love spot locks. I get asked that all the time. Like May, June, July, trout fishing, I'd rather a spot lock because typically they're kind of schooling up. You're kind of spot fishing more. But when I'm going up and down the bridge, I'm just so used to just tapping the trolling motor, this and that. It's like second nature to me. I don't even think about it. And then the other thing is sight fishing the reds, wiggling and zinging and winding through all of those little tiny ditches and making sharp turns, turning the trolling motor off real quick if I see one. I'm just so good with that trolling motor. It's like, I've thought about putting a puck on the other side, and to where when it gets into the season where I want to use an iPilot style, all I want's a spot lock. That's all I want. I wish they would do a handheld and you could turn the spot lock on. It would be the biggest selling trolling motor there is. But I don't know why they don't do it. But anyway, I've thought about having a puck on the other side where I pull the hand control off during that season, put a iPilot on for the iPilot season, and that would make sense.
Technically, you could do it because that day that you saw me out at the locks, my trolling motor wasn't working, or I didn't have my
Button, your remote.
Yeah. So I had to literally like
move it
with my hands.
Okay,
I was like, you could probably
I
put.
didn't even know you could do that. Yeah.
That's what we should do.
I mean, I'm telling you right now, so somebody invented a spot lock with a handheld.
Take the head and then modify it, and then I'll sell it to you.
There you go.
Because I know that's what Devin uses. He uses an iPilot, but with the foot control pedal. Yeah. So if you can foot control it, why can't we hand control it? Yeah. Like I don't understand
they
it.
Definitely do it. I don't think there's much of a demand for it
it's
because
the Matrix
people
model.
look at the new biggest thing. I don't know, but yeah, that's the one that everybody likes the most. It seems.
I had a hand
All the
control
old school guys.
I had a hand control for a long time, and I was of the same school of thought. Was like I didn't want to stay in the same spot, and so spot lock. You know, if you don't have it, you're not going to be there for long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're going to have to be forced to move.
Yeah.
And just like you talk about power fishing, you got to get, if you're on a hand remote, you're going to be moving all the way along.
I've seen it ruin a lot of good fishermen, like some of my friends that are getting a little older in age, and spot lock really helps it be easier for them. And I'm noticing them spot lock more, like especially on the bridges where covering water is more important. Yeah. I've seen it make them worse fishermen. They're getting too just lazy and complacent with the spot lock. I'm like, dude, you got to move more. Like people that used to catch maybe a few more to me, or we go 1 for 1. Hey, how'd you do today? I had 15, I had 14, whatever. Now it's like, well, how'd you do today? I had 6. Well, I'm like, dude, they were biting. We had 30. Like, what were you doing? You know? And I'm like, you just spot locking too much. You're not covering up ground.
Anyone who has kids, my kid, I don't know if your kids are like this, but like if I don't catch a fish, they're like, it's hot, I'm ready to go. And so like they kind of force you to move from one place to
Fishing
another.
with kids is a different animal. If you look, you're not much of a complainer. Like, and if I do see you getting antsy, we just go on a little boat ride, go try something out, go move. Yeah, let her drive the boat.
Whoa, get some snacks. The boat now.
Yeah, snacks is the key.
Yeah.
The Martian Bayou that just came out, I got a big article on fishing with kids, and like how it's a different. You can't just go fishing for yourself if you're wanting to get the kid into it. Because if you kidnap them, just fish for yourself and they get bored, they're not going to want to do it anymore.
You got to make it about them.
I made it about them. I'm like, when we go fishing, you can buy whatever you want. Yep. You can say whatever you want on the boat. It's like your sanctuary.
She likes that. The freedom of speech on the boat. See, Dad, can I say that? And I'm like, just say it once. Like, and don't tell your mama. Like, cheese and peas.
Okay.
I'll let you say it.
Mirror lure.
I'll let you say a few words you probably shouldn't be saying on the boat, huh?
You know,
it's okay. You're on the
mouth
boat.
of a sailor for a reason.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest trout you've caught?
All right. So I texted one of y'all a link to the name of the video is Dockside TV Old School, and that video, it's got the fight. I'm railing it in, and I hold the fish up and all. I mean, granted, that was shot in 2002. No, this is a lot. It's way before you were ever a thought. It was 810 was my biggest ever, and it was in November. And 80 to 90% of my big fish, 5 pounds or better, are all caught on Highway 11.
Highway 11.
Yeah. That's the one. I don't know why. It's weird.
It's a hard one to fish.
I've
listened to you break it.
It's tough. Casting accuracy is key. She loves fishing rodeos, and if they're in the fall or spring, we go to 11. Go ahead, baby. I'll make the cast, catch it, hand her the pole, let her win the little divisions or whatever. Nice. I make her fight it though now.
Yeah. We all saw her most recent one.
So what'd you catch it on?
Hybrid flurry. Yep. Magneto. I mean, I call mine Magneto. He used to call his magic minnow, which is like a clear, kind of like this kind of color, like a clearish fluorescent. 3H jig head, incoming tide. And it was around mid-lake on Highway 11. I like 11 much better on a falling tide, but it was a rodeo going on. We were fishing a rodeo at Tights, which used to be like the Campos here. And so I just lived on Highway 11 all day, because if you want to fish, that's a big thing with like rodeos and stuff. You can't, if you want to win it, you got to fish for the fish to win it. You can't just go, it ain't about catching a lot of fish. No. And she loves fishing rodeos. I don't really mess with them anymore, but if she wants to do one, I bring her and I tell her, I said, look, if you want to win a trophy, you just got to be patient. We're going to go after these categories because we can win these. Like in the summer now, we can't win a trout division. We don't have them here. So we'll go after sheephead or redfish or flounder or something like that. And I'm like, you just got to be patient. And she will do that because she wants that trophy that bad.
That's awesome. I was waiting to see her start jigging too.
She can do it. She can do it, but it's, y'all fish out there. It ain't easy, I know 40-year-olds that's been fishing their whole life that struggle with it. You know?
Checking in. Yeah. I'm not a big bridge guy.
Yeah, he's not a bridge guy.
Yeah, I'm more of I like the wade. I like the shallow. I like, I've heard about Seabrook. I don't know if I've ever fished there before.
I've only been there.
Seabrook's not what it used to be. Like all them stories I just told y'all, forget them.
Yeah, there's no fish in Seabrook.
Yeah. Well, they have them. Yeah, and Link. But Seabrook's got its little run in the fall now, and it does a little bit in the spring, but it used to be a May, June, July place.
Yeah.
That's when it really peaked, and that's when you'd see the 90, 100 boats over there.
A little salt pocket in the lake.
Yeah. Seabrook would be the best back in the day before they closed the MRGO when the Pearl River would flood. Says it would force the saltiest water be over there so it would consolidate the fish over there. So now we don't have Seabrook, and then the Pearl's always flooded, and then the fish are out in Mexico. They're so far, I don't even care to go get them. Yeah, they're out there. When they start getting, I got to go, people going past 9 Mile and Creole Gap and all of that, I'm like, y'all can have them trout. I'll wait patiently for them to come right back, and I'll go catch crappie.
Should have brought Ty to this.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite fish to catch?
Number one, topwater speckled trout. It's probably number one. Number two is probably sight fishing reds, and number three is sockeye.
Sockeye.
I'm not good at it.
No, me neither. I've had like one.
Not good at it.
Never. Other times like 4 or 5.
I love it.
I have people who will give me their top trout. Where they caught their biggest trout, and then you're like, "Where'd you catch that sockeye?"
Oh, dude, it's crazy. That's why I'm not good at it. Nobody will help me.
No,
I got to learn that on my own, and it's like that's a tough fish, especially around here. To sit in like the greatest sockeye fishery around here, we have them. Yeah, like the pearl's probably the best, but you got to know how to play the river. That ups and downs of the river. The West Pearl is probably the best around here. Lacomb's okay. That's tough too, though. Liberty's got a few. That ain't even worth trying to figure out. Yeah. The Chifunct is good, but I'm not about to drive 50 minutes to go to the Chifunct.
Chifunct is really good for sockeye.
Yeah, but we got a lot in Hideaway Lake, so when you see us shooting a lot of videos for sockeye, we go there, and it's a big man-made. I don't even know. I guess it's man-made, but it's fed by. It's got a spillway in it and all of that, so. It's a cool place, and it's all deep water sockeye jigging, like 20 foot of water with a 16th-ounce jig head. It is hard. And then if you catch them on the beds, you get like that 2 to 4 weeks, so you better be there right then, and they will be in the shallows under people's docks or in the shoreline there. But typically I go when it's freezing cold and everything here is super tough, and we'll go there, and it's fun. And I really, really, really enjoy
the cold weather fishing, man.
Me too.
That is just the best.
Too.
Getting all bundled up, and it's freaking freezing every time you move, but then the fish are just stacked up and you're freaking killing them, man.
Somebody told me the reason the redfish jubilee happens and they get like that is that their body, or not, they get warmer by being on top of each other. So that I don't know. I mean, they're a cold-blooded animal, so I don't know about that.
I think that also happens because they don't have any water anywhere else to go.
Well, yeah, they definitely got to get out the ponds. But dude, I've had days where I'm throwing on something the size of this table, and I can catch 50 of them in a row. How can there be that many in the size of this table? Like that day with you, we could have caught 50 or 100. Yeah. Yeah, when I left, you were like, I'm like, you 30. Yeah, I'm like, golly, that guy ain't tired? Because those weren't little dinkers. They had them all shapes and sizes. I'm like, this guy, he ought to have arms like Popeye after that.
Around, so I went a couple days afterwards, and Boyce was out there running around with his friend, and he was trying some different spots. I'm like, what are you doing? Come over here. I'll put you on. Sure enough, first cast, both of them doubled up. I mean, they're just, when it's on, and when they're concentrated, that's all they want.
Yeah, when you get, hey, that's enough. Simba, whenever you get that ice cold water, and you want low water is really the key. Get them out of the duck ponds and the shallows and cold. The Bienvenue locks are good where me and you were, but it gets so much traffic. The violet locks are even better. Yeah. But that's another friggin' 6-7 miles, Then they'll get in the intercoastal on that sign.
Yes.
Right by the big lock. That's a damn good spot. And then past that sign, they got that little rock like island thing in the Intercoastal. That's a good spot.
2 years ago, I caught 55 in that spot.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, I was like, Popeye.
It's
Dude, I was so tired.
Yeah. So in terms of Matrix, you've got, I'm sure somebody's come to you with a big check.
Never, which is surprising. I think, like you said before, when we first started, is I am part of the entity with this. So if you lose me, you got a problem. I have an idea. What I would do if somebody ever showed interest, I keep matrixshad.com, the website. The new owner owns everything, okay? And I sign an agreement. I have to buy all my inventory from you now.
Yeah.
So I just become a store for you. And it keeps me in the game. I'm naturally going to push people to my website, and I'll sign another contract saying I can never beat your dealer pricing, MSRP or whatever. I have to be at X price. That way I can't undercut nobody. And I'll still be in the game of trying to show people how it works because I want to make my sales on the internet. And if I'm selling it on my website, it's good for you because I got to buy the product from the new owner. That's what I would propose.
Yeah.
Or if you want me totally going, go ahead. I wouldn't advise that, but never once has I ever had anybody.
I think maybe that might be why people know that.
Maybe. And it would have, I mean, I'm only 43. It'd have to be a pretty big number for me to let it go.
Yeah,
A, this is what I love to do. B, it finances that little monster that's been out here the whole time and her older sister. Like,
I think she's going to be the new.
that'd be cool.
If you could pass it down to her.
If I could
that would be awesome.
If I could pass it to a female, like one of my daughters, I think it would take it to the next level.
It would absolutely 100%. Yeah.
They're going to be a lot prettier than I am. You know,
she's well on her way.
Yeah.
Definitely. She has the love for the fishing, which is obviously something passed down.
She just likes to be with Dad, that one. She just whatever Dad wants to do.
That's awesome.
So that's just who she is now. But, you know, these girls, they change. Only time will tell, you know. They're going to be chasing them. All they're going to be worried about that one in 6, 7, or 8, 10 years is boys. You know how that goes, you know.
Wait till the boys if they think they can fish. So guess who my dad is?
Yeah.
Come on board, son.
That'll be my son. I'm like, yeah, you need the queen of Matrix Shad. That's right. He's 7 years old.
Right.
I'm like, you're predestined, all right? You need I need to cut off my subscription. So if you could just make this happen for me, I could save some money.
They used to call Sam Barbera, rest in peace, the Prince of Pontchartrain. That was probably before y'all knew. And Sam was a great guy.
Very great stories.
He passed away years ago, but that was his nickname for Prince of Pontchartrain. It was so because Sam, he was a good fisherman, but he wasn't like great, but he was really well known. And he didn't have an ego or none of that stuff. So, like, people would kind of tease him sometimes because he wouldn't catch as good as, like, the legends and all of that. And he was cool with that. The thing I've learned with these fishermen, they got these ridiculous egos, dude. And I tell my friends all the time, like, dude, we're not curing cancer out here, bro. We're just lucky to be able to go. It's real. 70% of fishing is time on the water. We're just lucky to be on the water that often.
Yeah.
I do find the best fishermen I fish with were good athletes. I do find that. I'd put like 10% of it on athleticism. That'll take two guys that fish the same amount. The athlete will go to the next level. It's just better at it, hand-eye coordination, whatever. And then memorization, like I said, just patience and memory, like a good poker player or something. That's another factor. Observation, like my head's on a swivel always out there. I'm looking for every little thing, you know. Awareness is key.
Yeah.
But it aggravates it with these guys that have these egos, man. And look, I was younger and had maybe a little ego back then, but as you get older, you realize we're just fishing, man. This ain't a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, and I get people come up to me all the time like, oh, man, you're the Matrix guy, blah, blah, blah. They have me signing shirts and stuff. And I'm like, dude, I just put lures in a bag, bro. Like, that's what
buddy did say you get 2 hats. That's why I walked in with 2 hats. So sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll do it. I just try to tell people like, dude, I could pretty much teach this to 70% of the population. This can be taught. I can't teach you how to throw a 92-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah.
I can't teach you how to hit the baseball 420 feet. I can't teach you how to dunk. I can't teach you how to spin a football 50, 60 yards. Yeah. But I can teach you this.
Yeah.
You know?
Probably definitely taught a lot of people. Between you, Marshman, Devin,
y'all three are
those three are probably
y'all three are like the big three that I've got really got me honed into what I mean, how I can catch
think about
fish.
how idiotic people would be if they didn't have.
I mean, it's funny, like, well, all of us naturally pull up to our spot like, oh, man, there's 4 boats there, but it's our fault. You know what I'm saying? Like
Stanley especially. Stanley's like, but he didn't care.
Stanley could care less.
Yeah,
he's like, he's just going out trolling these and just friggin' waxing them.
Stanley does not
waxing them.
If there's 3,000 people in his way, Stanley's very poor. And I don't like a million boats in my way. What am I going to do? Half of them are using Matrix Shad. I'm going to get mad at them. Like, and I'm the one that I'm a big advocate on putting them there too. Like, I'm not, and I see, everybody's got a YouTube channel now, and I see some people airing stuff daily or weekly or whatever, and then I see them fussing on the YouTube channel. I'm like, man, you sound kind of goofy right now. Like,
they do it long enough, I guess they'll learn.
Yeah.
I guess they'll learn.
Well, a lot of these YouTube channels too, I'm like, I know what it takes to make this video and the effort and the aggravation. And I'm like, you're doing this for free? Like, I don't get it, Yeah. And look, I don't care. Unless you're like, Marshman gets a lot of views, Devin gets a lot of views, but unless you're getting like a tremendous amount of views, you ain't making no money on YouTube.
Yeah.
I make like $1,500 a year. Like I don't do it for that. That money is irrelevant. I've even thought about unmonetizing them just because the money ain't even worth it. At least the viewer don't have to see the commercials. You know what I mean?
They're still watching.
Yeah.
100%. They're still watching.
Yeah. Well, everybody watches and the first thing they're doing is looking in the background. And I get it, but I'm here to teach you how to do it, not show you where to go.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to lose my friends and stuff.
You need to know how to do it. I mean, especially jigging the bridges. I mean,
you do
nobody can do that. That's a skill.
Yeah, it is, but it can be taught. I can show it. I'm like, you say you struggle with the bridges. You come fishing with me 5 to 10 times. I could really show you some things that you're doing wrong or whatnot.
Let me rephrase that. I don't like the wraparound that you have to do when you're flipping it around the Highway 11. Yep. I can do it. Yep. I'm good with a bait caster. I'm good with flipping it, but not my style of fishing.
It's tough.
My style of fishing nowadays is all waiting.
It's tough, and when they're not there, man, you've already hit like 25 filings in a row in there.
Yeah,
it can get wear on you mentally.
You gotta I'm gone. Yeah. I know people that'll just sit there and grind it out. I get bored. I'll go catch a bass or something. I'm not that in love with the 2 and 3 pound speckled trout. That's another conversation I have with people all the time. I'm like, so dude, you're not going fishing for the next 6 weeks just because the 18 to 20 inch trout aren't here? I'm like, that's nuts, dude. Yeah. Like, what makes the 18-inch trout so cool to catch? Like, what's wrong with a bass? What's wrong with a redfish? What's wrong with a flounder? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it, dude. Yeah. Like, it is my favorite. I said, well, y'all said, what's my favorite thing to do? 18, 20-inch trout on the top water is my number one favorite. But I'm not going to quit fishing because that ain't happening right now. We're going to go do something else.
No, I'm with you.
100%.
I can go right down this canal and go that way, throw in the top water and catch little 10-inch bass. I'm not gonna be as happy as catching a 20-inch trout, but I'm okay with it.
Or tarpon,
Yeah,
no big deal.
The dude in the red house over there caught a tarpon off the bank about a year and a half ago, and it's a good one too.
Eden Isles is a tarpon spot.
I don't know. I think there's more in Lakeshore. There's been like 6 confirmed reported catches of a tarpon in the last probably 2 years in Lakeshore. And that one I caught was probably the smallest one I know of. That one was, I don't know, I can't guess their weight that good. I'd say 7, 8 pounds, maybe 5 to 10, somewhere in there. They got 40, 50, 60 pounders in there for sure. And the tarpon holes and all of that by Lincoln Beach and that area, they have them there. That's what you need, the salt and all. September, probably peaks out in September, July, August, September, October. They're in there. How you catch? Ask Ty Hibbs. Ask him how. It is.
That never aired.
They used to catch them out here. I guess there was more or something.
Yeah.
Where it was easier to catch, but nobody even messes with them really anymore.
You need a couple things. You need the grass. You need the habitat. You need the pogies. You need the mullet, and all those things have to like come together as one. They used to catch tarpon in the lake all the time. They had grass. Like Lake Catherine had grass. A lot of these areas have changed substantially, but like even in Mobile, where I'm from, Alabama, the state fishes tarpon. They used to catch them from the bank. They'd have guys in like 3-piece suits, like standing next to a 7-foot tarpon
in the bay a lot.
Yeah.
And that's like not a thing anymore.
Not at all.
Because I know they get a decent run on the beachfront. Because when I go to Perdido a lot in the Orange Beach Pier, them guys are hustling them tarpon.
Exactly.
But I guess they don't come inland anymore.
So like this week is the Alabama Deep Sea Fishing Rodeo, and you can catch them on the beach, and it's not a secret, so I don't mind talking about it. But people line up outside of, like, from Destin all the way down to Fort Morgan, and they can, they're just down there trolling, or they'll see them and they'll cast on them.
Right now is when it's good. I've been in it. I've come riding the beach there because I do a lot of Perdido fishing, and if I get like a light north wind, I like to get on the beachfront because you just see cool stuff. And I was going down one time in July, nice slick calm, and I was looking for the tarpon. And sure enough, I get them. If I didn't see 200 of them, I didn't see one. It was crazy. Now, all I had was my little bait caster with like 12-pound test on it. So really wasn't much I could do with it. And it was just such a cool sight to see.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Yeah. I've heard about it from so many people. A friend of ours was in a spot down in Venice, and he immediately put the message out, Nathan, I saw 200 tarpon rolling, and I'm like, because everyone knows I'm like after them.
That's your thing. I know they do real good with them south of Cat Island. I know that's a big, and it's like right now too. And they got some dude over there that's a guide over there, and I think he fishes with balloons, if I'm not mistaken, or something. Maybe I could be getting that wrong, but they troll for them and they catch them. They catch them.
They're trolling coon pops.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. So I took my skiff out there to Cat Island.
Yeah, you ever caught one or hooked one out that way?
Hooked
seven. Yeah, yep, yeah. Those are big ones though. Those are like 100+ pounders, right?
Made, never bride.
I've hooked.
You'll have your day, Genius. I hope so.
I've hooked probably 3 on accident out here, and the only reason I landed that one was because he was like 5 to 10 pounds on treble hooks. The other ones I hooked, good luck.
Yeah.
It would have had to have been hooked in the most beautiful part of his mouth, and I would have had somebody floor the engine to chase him down because they get them 100, 200 pounders in here. I'm pretty sure the lake had the state record for a little while. It was like 206 or something like that.
I told Ty, I said, I'll give you $100 if you find a pod of them. I'll give you $100 to give me a heads up on when you see them.
I can show you exactly where they will be. Yeah. It's that 30-foot hole southwest of the trestle, about 2 miles from the very south end of the trestle. So like if you're coming, where the trestle meets land on the south, you'll see or maybe a mile, you'll see them do not anchor and dredge signs. But due west of that, about 2 miles. Simba, leave them alone, bud. They're there. I've seen them on eyes, but you tell me how to catch them damn thing. I don't know.
Obviously, I haven't figured it out yet. There's guys that know how to do it, and you got to get so many things have to go right, and then you got to basically get very lucky. Some guys are very good at it. They got the right tackle, they got the right bows, but it'll happen. And I'm going to Cat Island to go fish with that guy that you're talking about.
Oh yeah, okay.
So it'll be, hopefully this happens this summer.
Well, he's gonna put you on one for sure.
I know.
I mean, highly likely unless y'all get some wacky weather or something.
Yeah, it's like it's like catching one with a guide versus how you caught them.
No doubt.
No doubt.
You do it on your own, like Christopher Columbus, dude. It's a much better feeling.
Different feeling.
Way better.
Like when I go out of the country, like to Cancun or something like that. Everybody knows if I'm going somewhere, the pole's coming.
Yeah.
So I'll have the only thing I check, my only check luggage is a fishing pole.
Yeah.
My clothes are in a backpack. And you never know, if I see water, we're going to fish it. And dude, one of my favorite things to do in the world is just to go to absolutely uncharted waters, bank fishing or whatever, and getting that thump or whatever, and you have no idea what species that's going to be.
Yeah, I was telling somebody really about that recently, where I was in the Philippines and I was throwing like a trolling bait, and I could launch this thing. It was like a 1 ounce trolling bait, and I'm launching it off this beautiful beach, waiting for a charter boat, and the deckhand standing next to me, I'm reeling it in. Something destroys it and starts jumping up in the water, it's screaming drag, and I'm going nuts, and then it releases, right, and then this thing's 3 feet long, and I turn to the deckhand, and I go, "What was that?" And he just smiles at me, he goes, "Needlefish." No, what the hell?
Ginormous.
It was massive. It was like
I've seen that in Cancun.
I'm like, I want to fish for needlefish.
I'm a needlefish guy.
I'm a needlefish guy.
Yeah,
that was sick. Yeah, it was sick though. And then we went off to snapper fish, and we were catching snapper like this big. And I'm like, take me back.
Bring it in a needle.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Needles. So hush it, pups.
How many trout is Simba eating?
Some like some trout. I could pull up a crab trap and dump a number 1 on the ground. He'll kill it.
Yeah.
He might get nipped a little bit. He will kill that number 1 crab.
That's awesome.
He's a maniac.
What a beast.
All right. In terms of biggest legends,
Yeah.
Louisiana.
I mean, Dudley's definitely up
Dudley's
there.
no.
Terry Googans is kind of like the one that showed me how to fish. He's more like the unknown legend. Kenny, you got to give it to Kenny. He caught the freaking biggest trout ever caught. I mean, you can't deny that. Dr. Weiss is a legend. And of course, is my estuary. Best Tophiel Bourgeois. I mean, what an innovator. The guy starts flying airplanes to go fishing. I mean, that's just such an innovative thought of fishing. Charlie Tomasich, you know, like I've always said, you have incredible fishermen out there and great businessmen.
He's both.
It's very rare you get both. And when you do, you get this great business run company like Charlie's Guide Company.
He's got it going
who's
on.
Extremely successful. And Charlie is the real deal fisherman.
Yeah.
Charlie is incredible on a camera too. A lot of people might think like, oh, he's just great on the camera, whatever. He's the truth when it comes. He's won all of the biggest tournaments you could fish. One of the names most people don't know is the best red fisherman in the country is Eddie Adams.
Eddie Adams.
Yes. I asked Ty here. That is number 1. The best red fisherman in the country.
Let's hear about it.
My opinion. I know Eddie. I know his accolades of winning things. I've never fished with him, but the people that know and the stories I hear, and I can just tell when a guy's for real. The ones that are for real are the ones that, if they're at a big convention or something, that don't toot their own horn. That's the guys that are for real.
Those are the guys.
You know, Eddie Adams is the guy. So Eddie and Sean O'Connell are partners on all of the redfish tournaments, and their winning percentage, they're like 50% winning percentage. That's fishing against like 50 to 100 anglers, and they win like 50% of the time. That's like Michael Jordan status.
Yeah.
Now Eddie is your old salt that probably knows a lot of stuff, and I hear Sean is a fabulous fisherman, and Eddie guides out of Port Sulphur, and he'll jump the ferry, and he knows point. He knows everything. Like he is a freaking redfish, you know. And the guys that I know that fish with Eddie or guide with Eddie and all of that, they all vouch for him. And it all like Ty will tell you, like Eddie's the guy. Man.
Yeah.
Ryan Lambert's another one that did it. That's really done a great business down in Venice with the, you know, because, you know, like fishing, it's hard to make a real successful business in this, you know. So the ones, I give a lot of credit to the fishermen that actually did it to where they made a full living on this and retired.
Yeah.
You know, they're not,
that's pretty awesome.
They're not commercial fishing into their 70s and 80s, you know, like you want to have a retirement plan. Doing what we do at 60 is going to be rough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me think of some other ones. The Poe family from Lake Charles, they're obviously huge. And they moved over there where you're from on Dolphin Island. Because I heard, you know, I got my little whiny stories about Lake Pontchartrain failing. I heard Calcasieu is like a fraction of what it used to be.
That's what we're learning.
We're learning.
Like that's.
I don't know it firsthand, but I fished Calcasieu. It's a really cool place, but I heard it's really bad.
Well, yeah, we've been talking to Bruce Ball, and he's like, man, back in the day, he sent us some pictures, and I sent it to Boyce.
Dude, wearing trout as a backpack.
Their war stories are probably tops anything.
And I mean, we complain about the pogey boats and some of the other, you know, issues that we have.
There's so many variables. It's hard to put your finger on something.
They're going against. We talk about David and Goliath. You know, pogey boats, they have their own lobby. When you're going against LNG companies,
they're going against LNG.
Like that's a whole other, because they lost that land cut, and that has so much to do with like how their fishery got messed up. And, you know, you know, it's sad because people will never know, you know, unless they rebuild it or get it back to where it used to be. And who knows if those fish are even there anymore.
Right.
You know, that's the big thing is like those genetics.
No, if they're there, they're going to catch them, dude. Like fish might get harder to get caught, but the anglers are going to get better. You know what I mean? There's no like, oh, there's 7-pound trout in the lake. Just people don't know how to catch them, or they're somewhere that nobody fishes. That's like, they're not here.
Yeah.
We will get some 5, 6, 7, 8 pounders come again this winter. It's always going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
But like I said, a 5-pounder, you didn't even raise eyebrows out back in the day.
Yeah.
Now, I'm good at taking pictures, as everybody knows. Like, I don't ever lie, but I might have a fish that looks 8, 9 pounds. He's 5 pounds. If you want to assume he's 8, assume he's 8. You want to ask me how big it is? I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to say it's about a 5-pounder. I never
weigh it, it's game on.
Yeah, if you want me to weigh it, I'll weigh it. I don't care. But I mean, I just take the picture and say I caught a nice one today. I'm good at taking pictures.
Yeah, man, that's what you got to do, man.
But a 5-pounder, man, like, it's no big deal. Now, back in the day, you get a 7, 8-pounder, you got something, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. So my biggest one ever, I call it, that was the 810. What's crazy, it was a 2-day rodeo. I caught like a 5-pounder the day before, and I was in first. And I remember this like it was yesterday. Dudley had came. It was like the big November rodeo. It was the big thing in Slidell. So it was all of the big fishermen fish. It was a lot of fun. Dudley came by me and said, "Hey, Marcus just caught 2 over 6. Just letting you know." I'm like, damn. So I knew I needed a bigger one. And then like 10 minutes after Dudley came by and told me that, and he was running a charter and went off, we hooked that big one. It was all on film. So that's crazy. In November, the 6-pounder didn't win. And he had 2 of them.
Yeah.
It's nuts, right?
That's nuts.
And so the absolute worst time to like catch big ones here in the lake is probably August, right?
Mm-hmm.
July and August.
Yeah.
When Terry won his boat in the Star, Highway 11 in August. To tell you how incredible the lake was back then. So Terry catches one 8-6 in August. And I talk to Terry about this all the time. I love hearing his war stories because he's got some good ones. He said, Chaz, I just fish almost every day I'm looking for 4 or 5 bites. He's like, I'm trying to win a boat. He's like, I know if I just keep pounding it, the opportunity's there, right? So he catches one 8-6 in August. And he's like, well, I already won the boat. I'm going to go fish flounder. So the west side of the trestle has always been the best place to fish flounder. And the trestle is one of the best flounder fisheries in the state. Well, back then, a 4 or 5 pound flounder really wasn't that big of a deal. And you can look this up on Google. Find the year Terry won the boat, which I believe was 2000. He wins the boat in the Star, and he's in second place with like a 6.5 pound flounder. He's like, go, but he didn't win it. I don't even know if he could have. That would have been like the first ever of a guy winning 2 boats in the same Star season. You know?
Yeah.
Ed Sexton, you got to give him credit.
Yeah.
I mean, Ed's won 3. He's won more boats.
I've heard
than
great stories about Ed
fans,
Sexton.
You know?
Yeah, I actually have Harold Wilcox actually recommended him.
We can get Ed Sexton on.
Yeah.
Ed would be a great one. I've met Ed before. He seems like a wonderful guy. And right now, so I was just looking at the Star leaderboard. The guy in first, it's like 6'8" or something. It says underneath he won it. So if you win the Star, you have to sit out 3 years or 5 years or whatever it is.
I didn't know that.
And he won it. It says on there, first place is not eligible for winning. Just, I guess he still wanted to, bragging rights. He's in first, so they put him up there. So second place right now is Dr. Weiss. It just came up, and word on the street, I got to call Dudley or see when I see him, it was him, Dudley, and Ed fishing. And Ed trying to beat Ed in the Star is good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. The only reason I signed up for the Star now is because I do have a shot to win the sheephead.
Yeah.
When as y'all know, sight fishing reg, you will see them Goliath sheephead.
Goliath.
And if you get lucky enough to hit one, that'll commit. You
get them on Matrix Shad, baby.
They do not like paddle tail baits. They want the creature stuff. So that's why we made this. It's like I've caught several on the crawfish, so I just went with a smaller one. Because if I get into a duck pond and I'm seeing way more sheephead than reds, I'll switch to that,
Yeah.
But I usually catch about 3 a summer, and when I do, it's always a Star competitor. And I caught one. I won the Star. Only time I've ever won a Star was in 26 now, 2020, somewhere in there. I won the Star with a 9.23 sheephead, and I caught it. So when y'all are going home and you're going over the twin span and you hit the interstate and where them guys like fish off that little crabbing bridge or whatever, and the power lines are in that pond, I caught them in that pond. Wow. That pond had just a perfect snot grass.
Hear that, Ty?
I goes there a lot. Ty goes in there a lot. But I haven't been seeing them in there too good lately. But Irish Bayou, that whole marsh system, that's one of the best sheephead areas that I know of. I see a lot of big sheephead over there.
Yeah.
But just getting them to bite is hard.
It's hard, man. I've seen, hammers.
I'll tell you something I do, and I've shot some videos on this, and I'm really shocked it hasn't caught on more because it's so entertaining, is everybody goes for these triple tail, right? Well, it costs you freaking $200 to catch a tail.
What's a triple tail?
Yeah. It's the most expensive fish pound per fillet. The juice ain't worth the squeeze of me. I've done it. It's super cool.
Don't do it.
It's super cool, and it's super addictive, but you're going to burn 40 gallons of gas to catch 2 triple tail. So I do the same thing. If I get slick calm conditions like we had today, I'll go on the twin span. I'm in the shade the whole time, and I just put the trolling motor on full speed, and I just snake the poles. And I'm doing the same thing you're doing with the triple tail. Instead of being on throttle, going 20 miles an hour, looking at the crab trap buoys or the channel markers or whatever, I'm doing it with my trolling motor with the twin span. And then I'll see, y'all have all seen sheephead up high on the pylons, whether it's the causeway, the trestle, a rig, or whatever. That's very common. Their tails will almost be out the water. And when I see one, I'll only get like 10 or 15 shrimp from here. Sometimes they don't even charge me because the shrimp I want are this big.
Yeah.
That's the one that's the sheephead, like the little ones anyway. And once I see one, I'll go get the shrimp, come back on the trolling motor. Sometimes it takes me a minute to refine them. They'll jump poles. They might sink a little, but they're going to come back up.
Yeah.
And I'll put a little perch cork above it just so it's more for me to know where my shrimp is.
Marker.
And I just throw it up current, and it's like, and
Boom.
you'll see the sheephead kind of catch. You'll see him like kind of, the shrimp catches his attention, and you'll just see the cork go down like your crappie fishing. It's so slow. It is so fun.
I know.
I think the best I ever did was like 11 sheephead doing it like that. But it's so cool. Like 4 is easy to catch.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a way better idea.
They're good to eat too, man.
Yeah.
Good to eat.
It's ask Dudley what his favorite fish is. Sheephead.
Sheephead's good.
Sheephead.
Yeah. Don't triple tail fish anymore. Don't save the gas.
Expensive, man.
Too
You said way
pricey.
more. Like, it was worth it 15 years ago. Now, from what I hear, it's hard to, they got the limits on them, so you can only keep 3, which 3 is hard to catch. And an 18-incher, that's like a big one for our area. It's not that easy to get an 18-incher, 15 years ago, when nobody was doing this, really, you could go out there and run the lines and catch 7, 8, 9 sheep triple tail. But I don't know. I've been seeing Daniel Kelly catching them pretty good down in Grand Isle.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Like Chaz, they're everywhere down here. I guess people don't mess with them down there.
I mean, I think people they go where it's convenient, and everyone knows where it's convenient. I'm not going to talk about it, but
I've never even seen one.
Yeah, me neither. I think they're all gone, to be honest, or they're down in Venice and Grand Isle. It's
a cool fish.
It is.
It's a cool fish.
It's different,
and they're tasty.
Tasty. Cut your hand in half.
So Daniel Kelly pulled up to us one time at the ICW. This before we knew him, and he popped. He does that Pontchartrain pop. I go, this guy knows.
Daniel
this guy
Kelly
knows.
is a good fish.
He knows.
Dude,
he knows.
He's
Shags.
like born to fish.
He reminds me of me a lot.
I was gonna say, yeah,
he really does. And I've fished right next to him before and watched, and he's talented fisherman.
Yeah.
If he stays in this industry, he will be a name,
a killer.
For
And
sure.
he hadn't been doing it that long either.
No,
Yeah,
well,
he told
I'm
us
sure
only
he's
a
been
couple of
fishing
years.
forever, but you can self-teach yourself this now. The information's there.
Definitely.
The encyclopedia of the Pontchartrain Basin, the Bennett, whatever, it's there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So all you got to do is do your own research. I had to pay for my charters.
Yeah. You got to go with Terry Guggen.
That was my lucky
Made
thing.
some
was
great
for
stories
Terry for Terry to take a liking to me, and for me and him to fish really good together and enjoy each other's company. And I would not be doing this for a living if I didn't become friends with Terry. He taught me probably 70% of what I know.
Yeah.
The other 30, I learned it on my own because I was a good fisherman now and I could teach myself. So Terry showed me a lot on just covering water, excellent jig fisherman. But Terry was he knew how to do it all. Incredible crappie fisherman, incredible panfish fisherman, incredible bass fisherman. He was great at throwing spinner baits, top waters, everything. A lot of these great fishermen out there are one-trick ponies. He wasn't. So I learned a lot of different stuff. So like one of the main things, if you want to learn one thing and be an expert at it and have the best success of catching fish anywhere in South Louisiana, I'd say a paddle tail lure on a jig head
I agree.
Yeah.
is number
It's hard to
one.
beat.
It's number one.
Now, when trout fishing gets tough, I quit messing with it and I learned how to sight fish reds, which you don't just learn that overnight. Like that is a whole different animal. Like just because you're a good fisherman, you're going to go into the sight fishing reds world and you're going to be lost. You're going to be scared of what your boat can do. You're going to think you're going to get stuck all the time, navigating through the marsh, learning how to see the reds, your visual instinct, because they're not always just floating sky high, bright orange. You got to get the keen eye for it. But when you learn that, you put that in your repertoire, your arsenal, that brings you to a whole nother level, because that is such the way to catch a redfish.
Yeah.
Like, you are basically force feeding them there. So I get in these ponds sometimes and I might see 10 reds in 2 hours. And I think to myself, I'm like, dude, could you imagine what I was doing 20 years ago? I'd be throwing a spinnerbait, making 2,000 casts.
Yeah.
And I've only seen 10 reds, making 2,000 casts to catch 1 or 2 reds.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I just got onto, like in the last 2 years, is drop shotting, which is what this bait's really good with.
Yeah.
That drop shotting is a game changer.
I love drop
It's a
shotting.
game
It's
changer.
awesome.
Yeah, and in some of your older videos, you had actually drop shot, or you were dropping in these like 20-foot holes, 20 and 30.
Yeah. We fish a
Yeah.
lot of deep water out here.
Yeah, and
lot.
that's different.
It is.
From-
And before I started drop shotting, so like the third biggest trout ever caught in Louisiana came on the Highway 90 bridge, which is the Wrigley's car bridge.
Yeah.
So that was always a staple that we'd all fish a lot. Dudley told me the only place he's ever had 2 9-pounders in one day was on the Highway 90
Damn.
bridge. I've caught
a thing
before
there.
Katrina. I caught a lot of giants on the 90 bridge. But the thing with the 90 bridge, it's a major pass, right?
Mhm.
So the tide screams through there. So you have to catch it at the change. If
Yeah.
you catch it at peak tide, it's done. Anyway, it's the poles. They're not like that now, but the poles before Katrina was a different bridge, and it was built just like Highway 11. It was 5 or 6 square poles. So what I would do in the summer is I would time that tide just perfectly right, and I'd go to Gus's and get 1-ounce jig heads, 1 ounce, and I'd put it on a 4-inch hybrid, and I would fish the poles just like y'all see on Highway 11, and it's 25 to 30 foot of water. Dude, when I go to lift that jig head up with my rod tip, the rod tip's folding over
it's
because
1
there's so
ounce,
much
yeah.
weight.
Uh-huh.
You don't know if you got a fish or
No,
not.
you have no idea.
But that's how I would do it. If I knew drop shotting back then, because you get that cannonball weight to the bottom, you are in total
Boom.
control.
Yeah.
You know exactly what's going on with your lure. I'm guessing a lot because the current's swooshing it around 25 foot of water. That was the hardest style of fishing I've ever done in my life. And I used to do it a lot. Seabrook too. Seabrook had a lot of 20 to 40 foot of water, and I'd fish them 1-ounce jig heads on a big hybrid, and it was very effective. So none of us knew what a drop shot was back then. I'm talking 15, 20 years ago, you know?
Yeah. Man,
But I just started playing with that, and I'm like, wow, how easy
We enjoy the drop
is,
shot.
man.
It is easy.
My goodness, where has this been my whole life? You
That's
know?
awesome.
Because I can fish it in a harder current, too. I don't have to get it
is good for
at the
that.
total slack tide. I could be in 20, 30 foot of water with a little bit of tide. I'm still going to get it down, you know? And that bait right there is freaking awesome on a drop
I
shot.
like it.
Because it's made out of that same material Marker 54 is made out of, that stretch stuff. It's a TPE plastic, elastic plastic, and it just is super flexible. So with that current, I've had days drop shot this where I just let the cannonball get to the bottom, and I'm just keeping the line taut, not even doing nothing, and it's just snaking in the current.
That's awesome.
I put a big fat tail on the end of it. I'll open one, and that's what makes it really awesome in the current. So a natural shrimp comes to a tapered tail. DOA, TKO, Marker 54, Voodoo, they all come to a tapered tail. That's what a real shrimp does, you know? But in order to get action, you got to put a little resistance. So I made the tail fat. So when the current is pulling against this, it flips up and down. You know what I mean? So that's not a normal shrimp motion, but it's a motion. It's a wiggly motion. So whatever the heck the fish think this is, probably a shrimp or whatever.
Yeah.
They love this thing. And this thing is great for like bull croakers, white trout, school trout. I mean, it's not a big lure, you know what I mean? Like if I'm catching nothing but 3 and 4 pound trout, I'm probably not throwing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now in the summer here for us, we're catching a lot of 10 to 14 inch trout, white trout mixed in, bull croakers, channel mullets. That's like our summertime estuary. So this is like the perfect bait for all of those deep bridges.
Yeah.
And it's just not 90. L&N's probably the best one. L&N's probably our number one summertime spot in this estuary. The Miller's Ditch Bridge, Blonde Wrigley's Bridge, Unknown Pass Bridge. So you have 3 bridges that connect Lake Catherine and the Intercoastal.
Mhm.
All of those are nice little deep water spots. And it's all deep water. It's all 20 to 30 foot. And in the dead of the summer, July, August, September, that's what they like to be in because that water's cooler.
Yeah.
You know?
If you could go back,
Seabrook too.
if you could go back to any period and fish any one area, which one would you want?
I mean, I'd be when in those late 90s and like when I was with Terry and them a lot. We were literally fishing Highway 11 every day with every cash he made is I might have the state. I'm throwing at the state.
That's
such
a
a
good
good
feeling, bro.
Really January 99, Kenny catches the 11.99, the 12-pounder, okay? 2000, Terry wins the boat. The September of 99, Jason Trullier catches an 11.34 on the Wrigley's 90 bridge.
Yeah.
Okay. 01 in April, in the same exact week, Terry and Dudley both caught one over 10 pounds in the same week on Highway 11. So that's four fish over 10 pounds on record within 3 miles of each other.
Yeah.
All caught in 700 days.
That's awesome.
That's unreal.
Isn't that crazy?
Awesome. Yeah, that's the glory days.
So I wasn't the fisherman I was then, but I was good enough to catch them big. I was catching big fish on 11. I wasn't as good as Dudley and Terry and those guys because it is an art.
Yeah.
But I was learning it. I was starting to get it. I would love to know what I know now and drop me off in like 1995.
Oh, yeah.
And let me, because I bet you them big ones were there before Terry and Dudley figured out what they did is they were the ones that introduced trolling motor, covering water, and throwing one pitch at every pilot.
Yeah.
Everybody else was a troller or a live bait guy, and those big ones are in between the gaps of the pole. And you can't get away with that on the trestle because there's too many snags.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
11 in the twin span, you had to rub the poles because the fish were in the gaps of the pole.
I'm gonna have to learn.
That's what if you
Dude,
could drop
it's a
me
fun
back
bite,
off
man.
in
Yeah.
time. That drop, I would love to be the state record holder.
That'd be
How
sick.
cool would it be to have a state record fish on a Matrix?
You might have it one day. You never know.
I just need those fish to come back. That's the thing.
My PB was on a Matrix. Every PB I had was
my PB's on a Matrix.
Yeah.
Let's go. Ultraviolet.
Forget that. Let's say kid's name. He won the Star 2 or 3 years ago. He's a really good fisherman. They fish the islands out there. He won the boat on a Green Hornet Matrix.
Nice.
Yeah. It's hard to
name's on the tip of my tongue.
I caught a legal cobia on a 3/8 jig head with a, that's my favorite way to catch cobia is like on a trout rip, And what's crazy is people are like, that's crazy. You caught a cobia on that. It's like, what's the difference between a 37-inch cobia and a 30 or 40-inch bull red?
Nothing.
It's like, it's the same thing.
You know the arguments I got to get in. Like I tried a real hard pitch on getting my stuff in tacklewarehouse.com and I've got the big buyers and all at ICAST and all of that. He's like, Chaz, we really like your product and all, but we really want to cater to products that are nationwide, like bass fishing stuff. I'm like, all this is bass fishing stuff.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
It just so happens I fish trout with it.
Yeah.
Like I got 2,000 videos fishing bass with this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, that's not my main marketing thing. So, and I get it. They're a big giant conglomerate. They're not wanting to just tackle the Gulf Coast sales. They want to sell to the table.
And wrap them
up.
You got to get the mid stroll with the Matrix, and then
you got the 5-inch.
I got everything.
You got the like Texas looking lure now.
Yeah, like this.
What's that one?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
What's this one called?
We just call it. We call it the Matrix Swim Shad. So a lot of these, and I'll say this on record, it's fine. No, it's no secret. A lot of this stuff I cut the mold for. I made this from scratch. The Matrix Shad, the regular made it from scratch, but something made the X Shad from scratch. The mini craw from scratch. We made that, like designed it on a machine and everything. Then my companies that I get to pour them for me to make them, they'll send me catalogs of generics that I can buy from them where I don't have to cut the mold. So this is just a generic. When they send me the catalogs, I'm like, well, I can use this. This works. This is a beautiful product.
Yeah, this does look good.
This is
a solid. This is like a Chris Bush color right here too.
Yeah, I sent Chris some of this stuff. Chris likes my generics probably more than Matrix.
Yeah.
And what I do use in Florida a lot is, so we fish a lot of eelgrass beds when I go to Perdido, just east of like Fort Morgan and all. I love the Ono Island area.
Oh yeah, I was just there.
One of the best baits is this on a 5/8 hook, and like just depending on how shallow or deep you want it, 16th ounce, 8th ounce, whatever, on like a weedless, the corkscrew in 5/0. And you just dart that,
walk
the dog
that's
under the
kind of
water.
like the slick.
It's just a slick lure. That's all it is. And
I
all
like
that
it.
stuff. just like I said, like there's a
Yeah, this
like
is
Matrix out
all
there.
bass fishing.
Exactly. You
But-
could definitely smoke bass.
He does. He does.
No, but our bass are little, so we make that in a 3-inch model. I used a 3-inch.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of heavy vegetation grass
I like
here.
that
and
color,
I just rip
too.
that over to grass and get that reaction strike from it.
Nice.
Yeah, but
Well-
what I try to do is make something for every situation because I fish every situation. Like I'm not a one-trick pony. I get bored doing the same thing over and over and over. So
That's
what I
English.
don't
We
want to
ADD.
what I don't want to do is go like let's say I love topwater fishing. Like I said, I love it. But I don't want to go do it with a Rapala or a Skitterwalk or a Mirror, a Zara Spook and catch. Here we go. I catch an 8-pounder on it and it's on somebody else's product. That's bad for business.
That would suck.
You know, and I don't like to lie. So I'm not going to catch something on somebody else's thing. So instead, I just
Matrix
make
Shad.
it. I'll just make the damn thing.
I'm with
you know what I mean?
I like
I
making
love
stuff
crappie
myself, too.
fishing. So when I figured out how to start catching crappie and I knew I could market it, what do? I made a lure.
Well, Landry Kirk came on and he was talking about this.
That's a good lure, dude.
He said that
I love the Matrix Shad.
he went with a guide and he was drop shotting these.
It's a bad dude.
And he said they were catching massive trout on the bridges with these. I'm like, I never would have thought
dude, they
to
love
put these
all the
on
little glass.
but like the smaller profiles.
That is probably the most underrated bait.
That's the quietest killer in the Matrix line.
I'm telling you, go put this on a little 16th ounce or 8th ounce crappie jig head and watch that thing fall to the bottom. The action on this is friggin' incredible.
Well, that's what he was saying. He's
load up.
like, he had a place over in Perdido and he had dock lights. And he
This
said,
is the best.
you'd see some 26-inch trout. And he's like, if you throw a full size bait, they're gone. He said, you throw that, you toss that out there,
that's right.
they'll come straight after.
And it ain't got to be a Matrix or whatever. Like Bobby Garland's one of the biggest crappie baits there is. They like little stuff. If you look at what they're eating a little bitty thing.
Tiny ones.
And look, if y'all would have came like a month later, right about this out, we'd have little 10-inch trout going bananas right now.
Can't wait for that.
I got all this bad water. It's been, like I said, it's been real tough. I got a lot of Pearl River in here and all I've been seeing is garfish. But all of a sudden it switches, and that's how I taught the kids how to fish.
Yeah.
Is I come out here and they'll keep me out here till freaking 2 a.m. sometimes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great way to grow up.
Dude, no kidding, man.
Blakely has got a video on TikTok that has 1.2 million views. Casting a Barbie pole, and she's doing my Pontchartrain pop.
That's sick.
It's so funny, man.
That's
Watch, I'll
hilarious.
even show it to the camera.
That's
Watch
sick.
this. Watch this.
I can see it now.
It
Hey
is.
guys, we're fishing. We're fishing.
I can't get nothing else to get 5,000 views, but Blakely right here.
You gotta put the kid on there, bro.
1.2. So she's doing she makes a heck of a cast there.
yeah.
She's only like 3 or 4 there. And you can see her whipping that because she's doing it because she watches dad, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, when you're light fishing, you don't really need to wiggle it like that, but whatever.
I think I saw that one.
So we were right after she shot that, or I shot that video, we went to iCast and she came with me and we had people in Orlando come up to her. Oh, you're that little girl. on that
1.2 million
TikTok,
people. Yeah, saw it.
video. I'm like, wow, that's
That's
incredible.
awesome.
Yeah, you're into
That
fishing.
was like the coolest thing. And my oldest one is reserved, don't really care about the spotlight.
yeah.
More like me, like I'll do this with you guys. It's not
Yeah.
a business, but I really am not a spotlight kind of
Yeah.
guy. I just have to do it for the business. That little one, she's a show pony. She's like Secretariat. She likes all of that attention and all of that, dude.
That's what happens. The first generation starts the business, second generation grows it, third generation squanders it. That's how.
That's the.
So you got to tell her, you got to sell it when it hits its peak. Then you got to sell it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, somebody came to me with the right number. Everything's for sale, of course, but when I start not being healthy enough to shoot the videos and showcase the product and show you how to do it, that's when I'd probably start looking at.
What would you do, Jeff?
Well, at that age, I'd hope I could retire, But if somebody bought it today, you know what I'd probably do? I'd probably get in the sunglass business.
Really?
Yeah.
Mirrors.
I found some people that can make a really nice product. And I'd probably I wouldn't want to compete with like Costa and stuff like that as $200 glasses. I'd probably try to attack that $40 glass. And with the marketing I can do with seeing redfish eat the lure and all, and market like, dude, if you got a good pair of polarized sunglasses, you can see fish like this and that. And that is the truth. You need good polarized sunglasses to see fish like we do. you don't have to have ours, but I'm going to try to influence you that way. You know what I mean? That's probably something I would definitely get. It's just such an easy business to throw a dart at. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. Probably buy a lot and put a bunch of rental boat slips like that. That would be a definite option too, because I know I could market that. Like, hey, come rent out keep your boat here and rent it here. You leave from here, you catch fish like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do the same marketing we're doing, but instead of showcasing the lure we're catching, show them where we're leaving from.
100%.
You follow me? Or build a lodge or something, have the guides working out of there, and then I would run the hotel part of it, the sleep.
You got to figure it. Sounds like you've thought about this.
I do. And a lot of people are like, why don't you do that and do that? Well, this keeps me busy, man. And then I'm not the type to want every nickel in the world. I don't care about the money. When I get time off from this, I want to spend time with that little girl that was just out here, I'm not trying to. I got a lot of friends that it's like, it's never enough, I'm like, what are you reaching for, dude? You're making a living. You got a family, but instead of coming home and spending time with your family, or you little girls, or bringing them to the movies, or going to their baseball game, or being their baseball coach, you're like trying to make the next hustle too, and you're already making a living. Like, dude, like life's too short for that.
Yeah, you can tell from those videos that your best time is when she's like grunting on one of these fish, and you're hyping her up, and you can tell that both of y'all are like in your element.
Feeling it.
I'll tell you, and I never thought I would say this. I never thought I would enjoy something more than fishing. And my favorite thing to do probably in the world now is watch that little girl play sports.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Probably.
That's what it's all about.
She is a damn good athlete, and her passion and competitiveness is like second to nobody I've really seen. Like, she is extremely in it. Like, she gives you 150%. And it's such a joy to watch.
That's
Even if
awesome.
she grows up and the other girls catch up to her, and she's a little phenom right now, but if they catch up to her, whatever, her passion is still enjoyable to watch.
Yeah. That's why I take my kids fishing, but then it's like, I wonder, because my dad put me big into golf. My dad loved to play golf, and so he made me do it all the time, but he kind of half-hearted did fishing.
Yeah.
And now, like, I played so much golf growing up that people are like, oh, you want to go play golf? I'm like, no, thanks. I'd rather go fishing. So it flip-flops.
No,
so it's interesting for you because you were in sports and your passion was
I'm living
fishing.
Vicariously through her again. Like, I do not regret quitting ball.
Yeah.
Because it was obviously the right move.
Yeah.
But I missed a lot of big prime years of my career. Like, I'm not saying I would have been like all state and stuff like that, but definitely like all district, all parish type of player. I miss that because I quit to follow this, and my dad died and all of that. So I'm getting to do it again with her, So vicarious, and I'm not that psycho parent. Like, oh, I blew my knee out, I could have went pro. Yeah. Now I'm screaming and hollering at
travel
the kids,
ball.
Travel ball lunatic. I'm living vicariously through her for fun. Yeah. I'm a little competitive. I don't ever fuss at the umpire, but I never.
We need to do the wife pod.
I'm not giving nobody $10, $12 an hour, 16-year-old lip. That ain't happening.
Yeah.
But if I get a Karen in the stands telling me some nonsense, I might give them a little back talk, a little back talk. But everybody knows me as this real reserved person, and I am.
Yeah.
But I will pop off from time to time, and I got to be like, Chad, you got to cool it, man.
Yeah.
But it's rare. It takes a lot.
Yeah. So talking about legacy, what do you want the legacy to be for Matrix Shad?
Oh man, my wife gives me crap about this all the time. As I always tell her, I just want 1 million people at my funeral one day. Because when my dad died, I remember it so vividly that there was just so many people he affected in his life that loved him and that was there. And I just want to leave. I don't want people to just like me because they like fishing and like the lure. Because everybody gets haters out there too. I deal with a few, very little, but I deal with some BS on the internet from time to time. And I'll reach out to him and be like, hey man, if you're hating on me, you've never met me. Because I'm kind to everyone and I try to be my best. So if I got a hater, I promise you he's never met me before. I mean, I at least, and the people, if I do have some people that hate me, I don't know why. Because that's my main thing is just like being good friends with everybody. And that's why Matrix has done what it's done. They're not just buying the product, they're investing in me too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They know that I don't BS. They know I'm not Like I could go out there and say, oh, we're catching 50 trout on dog crap under a cork. People be looking for dog crap in their backyard. They do believe what I say.
Yeah.
But they believe it because I've been honest and truthful with the community my whole life, you know, and they asked me, how'd you do? If I caught 4, I caught 4.
Yeah.
If I caught 100, I caught 100, you know? But I want people to just really remember me as like trying to help the whole fishing industry be bigger and better, and the fishing be better, and the you know, just the whole game of this, man. It's just, you're either born with salt in your blood or you're not.
Yeah.
And this ain't for everybody, you know, and I get it. Fishing can be boring. I don't blame the people that don't like it. I totally get it. But I love it.
I
love
it too.
It was a very big part of my life to cope when my father died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why I fell in love with it, because it really gave me peace, because that was a very difficult time in my life.
Yeah.
Because he was the type of dad that was like at every baseball practice, never missed anything. He was with me every day. I can't even remember my dad ever like spanking me or nothing, because we just had an incredible bond. So when I lost him, it was just really tough, and fishing helped me really get through that. And I just took it to I can remember when Tights was around, we all did the same thing. If the weather was pretty like today, all of the guys were fishing. If the weather was bad, we were all playing poker and drinking beer at Tights, hanging out. And I just fell in love with the industry. I just fell in love with it. Fell in love with the game. Like I fell in love with that lifestyle.
And you get to you get to feel what your dad felt when you watch your daughter play. And so that's
me and him were, everybody tells me you're a spitting image of your daddy, and I get it now, and I see it myself, because my dad never missed a practice or nothing. I'm the same way. Like if my wife could call right now, like, hey, they're having an 8 o'clock practice. I'm like, I'll be there.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. And
so awesome.
You know, if your dad could see you now, what do you think he would think?
He'd be pretty impressed, I can tell you that. My mom thought I was nuts when I didn't want to take over the jewelry store, because she looked at it as like, you're just going to be a commercial fisherman. You got an education from St. Paul's. You got 2 degrees from Southern Miss, and you're just going to go be a commercial fisherman. But she didn't realize that there's industry with this. This is Louisiana. This isn't Iowa. You know what I'm saying? You go try to do this in Iowa, you might struggle. This is Louisiana. This is all we do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a huge industry here.
You love it. It'll love you back too.
So now our jewelry store did very well. Like I said, it was open for like 70 years. It never did what this business does, you know? So now my mom would be like, man, you made the right call. Yeah. Although my marketing ideas and stuff, I could have just transitioned that into the jewelry game. And I do know a little bit about diamonds and stuff. So I could have went that route, but what am I going to work with 6 women every day, 6 Karens every day, or I get to fish? It's pretty easy.
You picked the right one.
Now you fish with 100 Karens.
You picked the right one.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. Well, yeah, I appreciate.
Let me get you both in a shot for the sign off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming on, and this was awesome. I definitely learned a lot, and thanks for everything you've done. You know,
for sure. It was good talking to you guys, and good to get the story out. You know, my closest friends, they know where it all came from, but you know, a lot of the general public out there, they have no idea how this started.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, you know, they think that like I just made a lure and poof, it just took off like that. It's like so much getting to that point.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, like, if you ever want to make a lure, you better be ready to live on I used to eat MREs every day, like during this whole process. That is a true story, because my grandfather was the type that thought Armageddon was coming tomorrow and all. So he saved all his MREs from Katrina. And when he passed away, there was a few of them that I really liked, like certain flavors. You know, some were terrible and some were great. And I scooped them all up and all. And I was literally 8 MREs every day for probably a year.
Yeah.
I'm like, you better get ready to be broke for a while if you want to get in this.
Well, we might be all broke and eating MREs before you know it. So
everybody wants to get in it. I totally get it. Cool career. It really is. But I will not advise my children. I wouldn't advise them to like, hey, go make a fishing lure for a living. Now, granted, they might get this passed on, and I've already done the legwork.
Yeah.
But that is not, just like you wouldn't really influence your kid to like, he's a 5'7" kid, he loves basketball, and you're gonna be like, hey, go be you got a shot to be an NBA player. Like
100%.
You definitely want to tell your kids you can do anything you want, but we all know your odds of being an NBA player and you're 5'7" are pretty slim.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Awesome. Cut.
Well, this was awesome, Chaz.
Yeah,